the great wave of magical technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151, The Immortal King. Ken Archer and Ji Yunfan talked for a long time, and no one knew what they talked about. You must follow me carefully, kid. I really don't know what you said to the underground. His Majesty actually allowed you to choose a treasure from the royal treasury. Rudolph shook his head slightly and said to Ji Yunfan, who was following behind him, Lord Rudolph, if you want the horse to run, you must feed it. Ji Yunfan stood behind Rudolph, feeling the powerful fluctuation of magic power, and couldn't help licking his lips. Rudolph was indeed an 8th level sky level mage. This magic fluctuation was so strong. Creaky. Just when Ji Yunfan was slightly distracted, a heavy treasury door in front of Ji Yunfan slowly opened at this time, and a heavy creaking sound spread. After the door of the treasury was opened, a deep corridor appeared in front of Ji Yunfan and the others. There was a dim firelight in the corridor, and rows of shelves came into view. On those rows of shelves, there were all kinds of treasures and books. Rudolph smiled slightly, and looked at the depths of the corridor. His eyes inadvertently revealed a glimmer of divine light, and then he said lightly, "This is the royal treasury. Most of the royal family's inventory is here. Choose whatever you want. I want to see what you can choose." Ji Yunfan's eyes were filled with a dazzling array of treasures. Although most of them were things he didn't need, Ji Yunfan also understood that, if these treasures were taken out, they would be enough to cause a lot of people to scramble for them. How could the Empire's collection be ordinary? Ji Yunfan looked at the many objects in the corridor with a little shining eyes, and didn't know what to choose for a while. Ji Yunfan began to wander among the treasure shelves, but he still couldn't see the treasure. At this time, "Yunfan, go inside." Sakadin's voice suddenly sounded from the bottom of Ji Yunfan's heart, with a hint of excitement. "What? Sakadin, did you find something good?" Ji Yunfan was stunned at first, and then asked excitedly, "It's hard to say. Go inside to verify whether my guess is correct." Ji Yunfan did not stop, and walked towards the depths of the corridor. When Ji Yunfan walked nearly 100 meters, Sakadin suddenly stopped Ji Yunfan from moving forward. "Do you see that skull? Choose it." Sakadin's tone was a little anxious. "Skull, Sakadin, are you mistaken? Can this thing be a treasure?" Ji Yunfan asked with some confusion. "It's a treasure, and a very good one. It's not an exaggeration to describe it as a divine artifact, a small world of the undead. I just don't know if the undead army inside still exists. Oh my god, it's this thing." Ji Yunfan couldn't help but be happy. This is a good divine artifact. Even if the undead army no longer exists, it's still very useful to me. Strictly speaking, the small world of the undead cannot be considered a real world, because there are only undead in it, and no living creatures can survive in it. But this is not a problem for the necromancer and the dark wizard, because the necromancer and the dark wizard can temporarily store the undead they summoned in the small world of the undead, and temporarily storing the undead in the small world of the undead will not consume their own mental power. It is a divine artifact used to accompany the undead army. In the memory that Ji Yunfan got from the gods, there was a very famous dark god in the era of gods. That dark god cultivated an army of undead that even the main gods feared. By relying on the small world of the dead, many gods died in his conquest. Finally, the 4 main gods of the gods joined forces to kill the dark god, Immortal King. It became a taboo in that era. Of course, the small world of the dead in front of him was not the one used by the Immortal King. Ji Yunfan took the skull in his hand and said, "I will choose it." "Why did you choose this useless thing?" Rudolph asked, puzzled. "Lord Rudolph, you said this thing is useless? This thing has been here for thousands of years and no one has touched it. His Majesty is ready to get rid of it." Rudolph looked at the skull in Ji Yunfan's hand. "Is this thing still a good thing?" "Lord Rudolph, I just feel that this thing has some fate with me." Ji Yunfan pretended to be very honest. He didn't dare to do this. He didn't dare to tell the secret of the small world of the undead. Once he told it, who knows whether this thing can still fall into his hands. "I knew you wouldn't tell me the truth. Forget it. I won't ask any more questions." Hey, Yunfan, not bad. I thought you would tell that little guy. The moment he turned around, Sakadin laughed playfully in Ji Yunfan's heart. Am I so stupid? I still understand the truth, that you can't have the intention to harm others, but you must be on guard against others. Ji Yunfan rolled his eyes. What Ji Yunfan didn't expect was that the jurisdiction of the West Coast Scrom town was actually the village where the little girl lived. This was the only thing that made Ji Yunfan happy. The sun shone into the yard, leaving colorful light and shadows on the ground through the dense branches. In the beams of light, tiny points of light danced with it, making the whole yard look light and ethereal. This yard was specially given to Ji Yunfan by Emperor Kenaka as Ji Yunfan's temporary foothold in the imperial capital. Ji Yunfan sat on a European-style chair, holding his face with one hand, and playing with the inheritance crystal with the other. This inheritance crystal records a fighting skill called Great Azura Slash. However, even Sakadin didn't know what grade this Great Azura Slash was. He just vaguely said that this thing seemed to be extremely powerful. As for why it was so powerful, the reason he gave was that Azura was also an extremely powerful race in the God realm, and every Azura had the ability to challenge beyond his level. Ji Yunfan blinked his eyes. He could actually complete the challenge of leapfrogging now. In Ji Yunfan's opinion, it was nothing. Ji Yunfan took a deep breath to sort out some of his chaotic thoughts, and then put the inheritance crystal into the space ring. If you want to practice the Great Azura Slash, you must have the Great Azura fighting spirit. After practicing for this period of time, Ji Yunfan has a certain understanding of his fighting spirit. His fighting spirit can be said to be all-encompassing, and can be transformed into all the fighting spirit attributes in this world. What he needs to do now is to transform the fighting spirit in his body into the Great Azura fighting spirit. Ji Yunfan closed his hands lightly, and his eyes slowly closed. His body was instantly covered by a green fighting spirit. As time passed, the green fighting spirit gradually turned into black and grey. Chapter 152 The Dandy in the Imperial Capital. Ji Yunfan seemed to have sensed the completion of the transformation of Dao Qi. With a move of his mind, he urged the Dao Qi in his body to flow along the meridians of his arms and finally poured into his fingertips. Ji Yunfan opened his eyes, looked at the black-grey Dao Qi column in his hand, and smiled slightly. This Shura Dao Qi looks like this, but I don't know how powerful it is. But, with the infusion of Shura Dao Qi, Ji Yunfan's fingertips suddenly made a subtle buzzing sound, and then the air in front of him seemed to begin to be torn apart. Shoot! Ji Yunfan lightly tapped an ancient tree outside the door, and the black-grey Dao Qi column directly penetrated through the ancient tree, leaving a large hole. Then the tree seemed to be corroded, withering and drying up in an instant. This Shura Dao Qi is so evil. It is true, but it is also very powerful. Among the Dao Qi of the same level, Shura Dao Qi's destructive power is definitely ranked at the forefront. Transform yourself into Shura, slay gods and destroy demons. The mysterious and obscure cultivation method, the strange Dao Qi operation route, quietly echoed in Ji Yunfan's mind, and he also hurriedly kept his mind, and an extremely manic emotion appeared in his heart, making him have a bloodthirsty impulse. At this time, the seedling of the world tree in Ji Yunfan's sea of consciousness transmitted a gentle force into Ji Yunfan's mind. The bloodthirsty impulse was gradually suppressed by this force, and Ji Yunfan couldn't help sweating. I didn't expect this Shura Dao Qi to be so evil. Ji Yunfan was sweating all over, but he was a little excited, and a little afraid. Ji Yunfan secretly made up his mind that he would never use Shura Dao Qi unless it was absolutely necessary. This thing might hurt himself before hurting others. Although this dark Shura fighting spirit looked quiet and restrained, Ji Yunfan could vaguely feel a kind of heart-shaking domineering. Obviously, the quality of this Shura fighting spirit was quite high, and it was definitely not comparable to ordinary fighting spirit. Shura fighting spirit in Big Shura Slash came from the Shura clan just as Sakadin guessed. The Shura clan was an extremely terrifying clan. Legend has it that they were created by the god of creation together with the Lord God to restrain and punish the Lord God. The Shura clan had a very special body, so the way his fighting spirit operated was also different from ordinary ones. If Ji Yunfan had not had the help of the world tree, he would have become a madman who only knew how to kill. It is not an exaggeration to describe him as ignorant and fearless. Under normal circumstances, it was not a big deal for Ji Yunfan to be named a baron. In the imperial capital, throwing a brick casually would probably kill a baron or even a viscount. However, with the deliberate propaganda of some people, the name Dante soon became known to everyone. That guy's Dante? He's just a low-ranking baron, but he's so arrogant. We must take care of this guy while he's in the imperial capital. Let him be so arrogant again. Ji Yunfan didn't know that he had been noticed by the second generation of the imperial capital at this moment, and he was still strolling around the imperial capital market. A corner. A boy dressed in aristocratic clothes was spying on Ji Yunfan's whereabouts. Suddenly he frowned and turned to ask the people around him, "What's going on? Why haven't the two idiots, Kaylee and Borg, come yet? Didn't they already agree to cause trouble for that guy?" "I don't know much, but I heard that they met the Little Witch Princess Avril yesterday." Little Witch Princess Avril? The face of the boy dressed in aristocratic clothes suddenly changed, and he said a little palely, "She's back." Many Dantes in the imperial capital have been bullied by the Little Witch Avril, so when they heard Avril's name, they were instinctively afraid. "Boss, Dante's leaving the imperial capital." The words of the noble boy's subordinates interrupted the noble boy's thoughts. "Hurry up and chase them," the noble boy said viciously. He could make a bet with the people from the Stephen family to punish Ji Yunfan. Whatever these playboys want to do, if they want to die, it's not my fault. Ji Yunfan had already discovered that those guys were following him. He snorted in his heart, shook the gold coins in his hand, and looked at the location of those guys. When Ji Yunfan's eyes swept over him, Jax's expression changed, and he was a little anxious. Could it be that the guy has found out that we are following him? How is this possible? Jaxi must be thinking too much. I hope so. Jaxi rubbed his hands and said, "Master Urfa, you must remember what you promised me." "Well, don't worry, finish this thing. The debt you owe me will be written off." Urfa waved his hand nonchalantly and said a little unhappily, "You know who I am. How can I still owe you a debt?" Looking at the second generation of the rich standing in front of him, Ji Yunfan's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a wicked smile. "I wonder why these young masters blocked my way. You are the baron just awarded by his majesty. I heard that you are very arrogant and don't take us, the second generation nobles, seriously. Today we are here to teach you how to be a man." A group of greenhouse flowers, listening to the wind and rain. "I'm really worried about your family." Ji Yunfan looked unreasonable. "Damn Dante, you dare to look down on us. Today I will make you look good." Urfa's face changed. This group of second generation nobles, just as Ji Yunfan said, have not experienced any big storms and waves, and have been spoiled by their parents for 2 days. Many times they do things according to their personal preferences, and every time they do something wrong, their parents will bear the responsibility, and gradually they develop the habit of being spoiled. Dante is not much different from them in age, but he has been awarded the title by his own ability, and has his own territory. Naturally, they are not convinced, and then they are fooled by some people with ulterior motives, so they form a group to find trouble with Ji Yunfan. Did I say anything wrong? You come to trouble me. It's nothing more than someone said something bad about you. Ji Yunfan shook his head and said in a deep voice, "Haha, don't you think about what good it is for me to say something bad about you?" Hearing Ji Yunfan's words, Jackie and others became more and more impatient. Although they were dandy, they were not stupid. At this time, a burst of urgent urging voices came from behind. When the voice fell, several guys dressed as noble children came and surrounded Ji Yunfan. Why waste words with him? Beat him up first. Chapter 153, Evildoers must be punished by evildoers. Don't come over here, I will resist. Ji Yunfan dodged while using his fighting spirit to shout, "Murder. The nobles are going to kill people." Ji Yunfan didn't believe that these guys were looking for trouble with him. Their families didn't know. Since they knew, they still let these playboys come to trouble themselves. I'm afraid they just want to test their abilities. Since you want to see how I deal with this matter, I'll show you. Ji Yunfan smiled evilly and poured the sewage on these nobles. Ji Yunfan used fighting spirit to amplify his voice, and the sound was like thunder. Almost half of the imperial city heard the shouting. After hearing Ji Yunfan's shouting, these noble playboys were all stunned. Damn it, when did we say we were going to kill people? Nima, isn't this a scam? You are a noble after all, how dare we kill people so blatantly? Shut up this kid's mouth, shut it up. Urfa's face turned green. Damn, this guy in front of him is so shameless. A bunch of playboys usually go out to have sex, how can they concentrate on practicing? The punches and kicks of this group of playboys fell on Ji Yunfan like raindrops. A few junior warriors and mages can't cause any harm to Ji Yunfan at all. It would be a miracle if these playboys can beat a 4th level warrior down. After Ji Yunfan was hit by a few punches and a few junior magics, nothing happened, but the shouting was louder. Many people in the Imperial City were attracted by the sound and rushed over to watch the fun. Murder, the nobles are going to kill people, and they are going to kill nobles. You are now openly traitors. The faces of these playboys were very ugly. The dirty water thrown was simply indescribable. If the crime of treason was really confirmed, chopping off their heads would be a light punishment, and they might even implicate their own families. At this time, more and more people came to watch the fun. Even Emperor Ken Archer changed into casual clothes and watched the fun. I didn't expect this kid to be so capable. Why didn't I realize he was so rogue at first? Rudolph said to Ken Archer with a smile. It's good that he has such a lively personality. He won't be caught by those guys. Don't we just want him to stir up this stagnant water, teacher? Ken Archer also said with a smile. To be honest, these little guys are not bad by nature. They just need to be beaten. Rudolph's mouth corners slightly raised, revealing a strange smile. At this time, Ji Yunfan had suppressed this group of playboys with his own strength. Ji Yunfan pretended to be very scared and seemed to wave his fists aimlessly, but his fists were very lucky every time and landed on those playboys just right. The faces of these playboys turned blue. Ji Yunfan threw punches randomly, and each attack was very tricky, which hurt them. This kid. Rudolph's expression became serious involuntarily. Every attack is just right. It seems chaotic, but the real situation is absolutely so. Yes, this kid has extraordinary means. Who knows what unexpected surprises he can bring us. Urfa groaned, suddenly hugged his stomach, his body twitched, and spit out a mouthful of sour water from his mouth. Damn it. When the playboys next to him saw that Urfa had vomited all the food he had eaten at noon, their faces, which were already blue, became even uglier. Ji Yunfan glanced at the playboys in front of him and sneered. If they wanted to play with him, these guys were still a little naive. When being beaten by these playboys, Ji Yunfan relied on his own strength. All the punches and kicks of these playboys fell on Ji Yunfan, but did not hurt Ji Yunfan at all. Instead, his hands were numb from the backlash of Ji Yunfan's fighting spirit. Ji Yunfan dodged and hit these playboys, making them cry for their parents, but he was not hurt much. This kid's attack is a bit weird. Although it doesn't seem to use much strength, the effect is extraordinary. Rudolph touched his beard and said to himself in confusion. Although Rudolph has the strength of the 8th level and has an extraordinary vision, he can't understand Ji Yunfan's attack because Ji Yunfan's attack is based on the attack on the human body's weaknesses on Earth. Fuck, you are useless. How could you let this bastard fool you? Urfa roared. Under the onlookers of countless nobles and civilians, Urfa felt that the noble children had lost all their face. It was just that after so long, they could not do anything to Ji Yunfan. Wait for the patrol team to come, we will be finished. It would be fine if Ji Yunfan shouted for help, but Ji Yunfan shouted that the noble children killed people. If he was caught by the patrol team, he would have no reason to explain. MMP, the key is that they haven't figured it out yet. This group of dandy boys were so angry that they couldn't handle Ji Yunfan and were scolded by their own people. Now they didn't know what to do. Now Ji Yunfan was just a troublemaker in their eyes. He was about to be dealt with, but suddenly he became lively and energetic. This thing was definitely intentional. They were complaining now. They had tried their best, but no matter what they did, Ji Yunfan was alive and well. On the contrary, they were tortured by Ji Yunfan and were about to collapse one by one. Ji Yunfan hit them on the joints every time. You know, the joints are the most vulnerable parts of the human body. Now these playboys feel that they can't exert any strength, and their whole bodies are numb and uncomfortable, as if they are falling apart. Brother, we give in. Can we admit defeat? These playboys no longer have the fighting spirit they had at the beginning. Like a wronged young wife, they all beg for mercy. But what should I do if I haven't had fun yet? Yunfan said as he started, with no intention of stopping. You are simply a demon. Many playboys were already in tears at this moment. What are you doing? At this moment, a steady shout came from a distance, and a team of armored men and horses came over. Hearing this shout, Yunfan stopped. The leader of the duo looked at the dandies lying on the ground, frowned, and turned to look at Yunfan. Although he had no good feelings towards these dandies, he could not shield a criminal. Tell me what happened here? Chapter 154 Return to Academy. Commander-in-Chief, it's our fault. We shouldn't be besieging Baron Dant here. Take us away quickly. These dandies were really scared by Yunfan. When they saw Yunfan pretending to be miserable, they realized that this bastard was completely ready to trick them. First, he took the initiative to attract others, and then pretended to be the victim. What's going on? The sun rose from the west today. What happened to the little ancestor who was fearless these days? He obviously suffered a loss, but still. Because they came later, they didn't know the specific situation. In this case, take him away. The head of the guards nodded. Since these little dandies in the imperial capital wanted to keep things quiet, then it would be fine. This result was also what they liked to see. How to say it, it's better to have less trouble than more. What happened in the imperial capital quickly spread in the aristocratic circle. Many people knew that a baron came to the imperial capital and punished the second generation of the imperial capital. Yunfan really has a lot of secrets. Under the gaze of the crowd, Yunfan slowly left. Yunfan noticed the strange looks of the crowd, and his mouth curled slightly. Punishing these playboys was not just his hobby, but to show his value to his majesty. He would not regard these playboys as his opponents. His first goal was the entire Stephen family. Yunfan has now provoked the Stephen family, and the Stephen family has always been targeting him, but the Stephen family should not put too much energy on him for the time being, because in the eyes of the Stephen family, Yunfan is such a little kid, just made by his majesty to disgust them, and is not a big threat to them. After this period of practice, Yunfan's soul power has increased a lot again, as if there is no bottleneck at all, which makes Sakadin very jealous. Playing the pig to eat the tiger is the kingly way. It's time to go back. Yunfan has a far-sighted vision, and all kinds of thoughts surge up like a tide. After a moment, Yunfan smiled slightly. Things will work out when the time comes. Why bother about him so much? Who is he? Yunfan, the god of China. Since he has come to this world, I will make those enemies regret it. Although I, Yunfan, don't cause trouble, I'm not afraid of it. The college ranking battle is also a big deal for the students. The ranking of the ranking battle involves the treatment that the students can enjoy, and the top 10 of the ranking battle will represent the college to participate in the 5 major college competitions. Some students have returned to the college one after another. Dant, it's great that you're okay. I thought I would never see you again. Amy's face was rosy, and she was very happy. Looking at Amy's slender figure, Yunfan couldn't help but smile bitterly. The most difficult beauty to lose weight. Yunfan really didn't know how to face Amy. His identity is sensitive now, and he doesn't know what kind of problems he will face in the future. How could he not know that Amy seems to have a crush on him? Looking up, Avril looked at Yunfan with a smile, then looked at Amy in the distance, and said with a chuckle, Amy, Dant, there is something wrong with you two. Your Highness. What are you talking about? Amy seemed to be seen through her heart. Your Highness, if you have time to tease us, you might as well practice hard and strive for a good ranking. Yunfan smiled slightly. Just wait and see. My Highness's strength is extraordinary, and she must be much stronger than you, kid. Avril raised her head proudly and turned away. Sure enough, she is still a child. As old as you are, if I remember correctly. Your Highness is 1 year older than you. Amy rolled her eyes at Yunfan and said unhappily. You should know that physiological age is different from psychological age. Yunfan laughed. TSK. Amy rolled her eyes at Yunfan. waved goodbye to Ji Yunfan, and walked away. Looking at the appearance of Amy and Avril, Ji Yunfan couldn't help but smile slightly, and walk towards the direction of his dormitory. Time flies, and it has been more than 10 days since Ji Yunfan returned to the academy. Ji Yunfan's life is almost a straight line, studying and practicing in the academy, resting in the dormitory, and checking the grocery store. The academy calculates the magician's attack power according to the mental power scale value and the magic base according to a special formula, and calculates the warrior's attack power according to the fighting spirit strength, and determines the initial basic ranking of the academy students. 1243 is the attack power initially assessed by the academy for Ji Yunfan. The academy ranks 37th in the overall ranking, which is considered a student of the second tier of the academy. After breakfast, the students of the academy came to the usual training ground early. At a glance, all the common and uncommon students were already waiting there. The popularity was extremely high, which showed that the students attached great importance to this ranking challenge. On the huge training ground, during the time when the students were eating, a four-sided barrier had been erected. This barrier was built by the master level instructor of the academy's magic circle. It was built based on high-level magic crystals. There were more than 10 meters between each other. The high-level magic circle could withstand a 6th level single magic attack. At this moment, the training ground was already crowded with people. A tall red list several people tall stood in the center, with the list of the top 100 students in the previous basic ranking written on it. Students who want to participate in the challenge ranking competition need to register with the instructor first. Students have one chance to challenge students with a basic ranking difference of less than 50. If the challenge is successful, the student's ranking will be replaced. Students who succeed in the challenge can choose to continue to challenge or give up. Like Ji Yunfan, few people in Ji Yunfan's intermediate class have participated in the challenge before. Many of them have just been promoted. It is the first time for the students in the class to see such a hot scene, and they are very excited. Many people were discussing who would win the first place in the challenge. Avril was the happiest at the moment. While everyone was making the final preparations, she pestered Teacher Annie and kept asking, "Teacher Annie, with my current strength, what rank do you think I can get?" Teacher Annie smiled and was obviously in a very good mood. She said, "Princess Avril, although you are very talented, you are still young, and you probably lack some experience in fighting. So don't think about ranking too high this time. You must know that the entire academy now regards this as a top priority. Many students who have been training outside have returned." Teacher Annie, you mean that I can't make it into the top 10 this time and I can't be a seeded player? Chapter 155 Qualifying Round. Avril pouted and said unhappily, "I have a lot of magic scrolls given to me by my father. If it doesn't work, I can just use the magic scrolls to knock them off the stage, right? My princess, please don't do this. I know that it is strictly forbidden to use magic scrolls during the competition. If you really do this, you will lose the qualification for the challenge. Listen to me, just watch other people's competition this time, and strive to get a good result next year. I must propose to my father to change this unreasonable competition rule." Avril pouted and said unhappily, You little girl, this is the rule set by His Majesty himself. If you are really allowed to do this, what rules are there for this competition?" Teacher Annie said, tapping Avril's forehead lovingly. At this time, Kim heard it from the side, walked over, winked at Avril secretly, and said with a smile, "Your Highness, I'm afraid you don't have a chance to take this year's challenge, but my brother may get a good result." Avril said ignored Ji Yunfan's confused face, and asked, "What, Kim? I think you must not have looked at my brother's basic ranking." "Dad's basic ranking? Is his combat power very high, and ranked very high?" Avril was stunned for a moment. 1243 combat power, ranked 37th. What? Avril didn't really pay attention to Ji Yunfan's combat power at the beginning. She had always felt that Ji Yunfan's strength was not much different from hers. Who knew that this guy would be so far ahead? Even Teacher Annie was shocked and hurried to the gold list. The named Dante was indeed on the gold list 37th. It's incredible. Dante, how long has this guy been practicing magic? Is this guy the reincarnation of the god of magic? Otherwise, how could he become a senior magician so quickly? Ji Yunfan's classmates were all puzzled. Teacher Annie knew Ji Yunfan's situation best because she had used Ji Yunfan as a research subject, but she was also shocked by his amazing progress. "Tell me how you did it quickly." Avril looked at Ji Yunfan with extremely fiery eyes and asked, "How else can you do it? Just meditate for a while every day." Ji Yunfan naturally couldn't say that he had swallowed the divine consciousness of the gods, let alone the seedling of the world tree. It's impossible to reach the level of a senior magician by meditating for a while every day. Avril obviously didn't believe it. When he was practicing, he took alchemical potions every day. With the help of the potion, she reached the level of an intermediate magician, and there was still a long way to go before she could become a senior magician. Everyone didn't know that the combat power of 1243 was actually just the combat power of a magician. In fact, Ji Yunfan also had a fighting spirit that was not weak in magic power. Dante, do your best. This time, as long as you can stay in the top 50, I will give you a reward. Teacher Annie said with a smile. Teacher Annie, do you have no confidence in me? Ji Yunfan also smiled indifferently. Student Dante, it's not that I don't have confidence in you, but you don't know the danger of the ranking battle. Many students who are ranked after you are actually not simple. Some of them have had several ranking battles. Teacher Annie explained. It's so dangerous. After hearing Teacher Anna's words, Ji Yunfan didn't react, but Amy looked worried. Seeing that Ji Yunfan didn't seem to be moved by her words, Teacher Annie couldn't help shaking her head. It seems that you don't believe it. Teacher Annie, don't worry, I know my limits. Ji Yunfan said with a confident smile. Forget it, I don't care about you anymore. I know you won't listen to me, but remember, if you really encounter any danger, just surrender. Don't miss it. If you pass by. Today is the day of the challenge qualifying competition. I, Sweet, decided to set up a bet here. I hope everyone will actively participate in the guessing. Just when many people were discussing the qualifying competition, a plump little fat man in uniform shouted loudly, "There is nothing you can't do. Use your imagination and predict who will be the final winner." Many students were already interested in the guessing at this moment. They surrounded the little fat man and asked, "Fatty, tell us, how are you going to set the odds? You want to cheat everyone's money here again, right? Come on, tell me quickly." Jones Samuel is competing for the final winner. How much are the odds? Fatty, is it okay for you to take these odds? Don't let it be a matter of time before you can't afford the compensation. Hearing someone questioning him, Sweet's face didn't change much, and he was still chatting and laughing. "Senior, I don't think you know me, Sweet. My full name is Vivian Sweet. Don't you trust the reputation of our Vivian family?" "Vivian family? I didn't expect that you are from the Vivian family, one of the 4 major families. Indeed, with the reputation of your family, it is absolutely impossible for you to do anything dishonest. The Vivian family is one of the 4 oldest families in the empire and controls 1/3 of the economic lifeline of the empire. It is almost the same to describe them as rich enough to rival a country, and the Vivian family is famous for its credibility in the empire. In that case, you should open the betting market quickly." Vivian Sweet, this kid actually dared to use the ranking match as a bet. It seems that he needs to be punished in the future. A white-haired old man in a white robe frowned slightly and said to himself. At this time, the fat boy Vivian Sweet shuddered for no reason. He felt a little puzzled and whispered to himself, "Is it because of excessive practice recently? I'm sick." At this time, the fat boy named Vivian Sweet had no idea that he had been targeted by Walter Cotton, a respected vice president of Alkaline College. If she knew that this would happen, she would never dare to open a betting market in the college. "Thank you for your trust in me. I will definitely make everyone return with a full load." Vivian Sweet pretended to be honest and said shyly, "Haha, the Vivian family is notoriously stingy. It would be strange if we could really make money from them." Vice President Walter Cotton laughed in a low voice. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156. The odds are terribly high. Avril and Amy seemed to be attracted by the little fat man's behavior, and they looked eager to try. Yunfan couldn't help, but shook his head slightly. Student Dante, you seem to be very dissatisfied with the behavior of these students. A voice suddenly sounded behind Yunfan. Yunfan looked in the direction of the voice, and saw a man in armor appeared beside him, looking at him with interest. 9 out of 10 bets are lost. I'm afraid that many people are giving money to this little fat man. According to the probability, this little fat man is definitely a sure win. But to be honest, this little fat man is indeed a talent. Vivian Sway suddenly took out a table, a chair and an odds booklet from his space ring. The booklet recorded the odds of the top 100 students winning the championship. Yunfan glanced at the odds booklet and found that the odds of the top 10 students winning the championship were very low, and the first place, Abel Carey, had an odds of only 0.1. The odds of him winning the championship were the highest among the top 100 students, at 50 to 1. You don't think I'll win? Seeing the odds, Yunfan didn't care at all, but he was really upset. Many students even speculated whether Yunfan could stay in the top 50. I bet on Dan to be in the top 10. What are the odds? Yunfan suddenly came to the fat guy and said, Dante? The little fat man was stunned for a moment and then said, the person you are talking about should be the junior who just entered the intermediate class this year. His odds of entering the top 10 are 1 to 10. His combat power is not very high. Why are his odds so high? This junior, although the basic combat power of this junior named Dante is not low, as a student in a low-level class, his combat experience should be very limited, so his odds are so high. The level of combat power cannot fully represent his own strength. Although this junior named Dante is said to be quite powerful, I guess he should be praised to death by those few families, and this junior will probably be challenged by many people, and it is unlikely that he wants to keep his current ranking. The little fat man looked like he was sure of winning. Of course, if you want to buy him to enter the top 10, it is not impossible. Oh, thank you for your help. Yunfan smiled slightly. How about it, junior? Do you want to try your luck? The little fat man smiled and rolled his eyes a few times. Of course, bet on Dan to be in the top 10. Here's 1 million gold coins. Yunfan said as he took out a gold coin card. 1 million gold coins. I didn't expect that my junior brother is actually a tycoon. The little fat man was shocked by Yunfan's hand. Why don't you dare to take it? Yunfan said with a faint smile. How is it possible? No matter how much my junior brother bets, I dare to take it. The little fat man smiled proudly, took the gold coin card from Yunfan, put it in his arms, and then smiled, took out a contract card, and handed it to Yunfan. Junior brother, you must keep this contract card. With this contract card, if Dante is in the top 10, you can come to me to collect 10 million gold coins. Didn't you say that you lose 9 out of 10 bets, so why do you still bet? The young soldier said curiously. Others lose 9 out of 10 bets, but I'm sure of it, so why not? Yunfan smiled confidently and turned away. 10 to 1. How could I open such a handicap if I wasn't sure? Junior, you are still too young. The little fat man raised his mouth as he looked at Yunfan, who turned and left. Little fat, be careful of a capsize in the ditch. This junior may not be simple. The young warrior said thoughtfully. Boss Renault, in all these years, when have you ever seen me do a losing business? The little fat man said with a wretched smile. Really? I hope you can always be so lucky. After the young man finished speaking, he also turned and left. Renault, ranked 3rd in basics, the champion seed of the qualifying battle, has participated in the qualifying battle 3 times, with the best ranking of 3rd place. He is called Son of Thunder and Son of Violence by the students of the academy. He practices thunder fighting spirit and has extraordinary combat power. Students of Alkaline Academy, the qualifying battle is starting now. A deep voice sounded, echoing in the academy and cheering everyone up. For a moment, the originally noisy training field suddenly became quiet. Is that our Alkaline Academy's elusive dean, Sir Francis? In front of the gold list, an old man in a golden magic robe suddenly appeared. The 4 great saints of the empire, Sir Francis, actually appeared. Saint magicians, the strongest fighting force on the continent. If the god level ones don't appear, the saints are invincible. Many low-level students saw a saint-level strongman for the first time, and they were naturally amazed. In the first stage of the qualifying competition, there is a chance to challenge the top 100 after the 100th place. The challenge qualifying competition was carried out in an orderly manner. It took a day to successfully complete the first stage, and the new top 100 ranking was released. It was similar to what Teacher Annie expected. Except for Yunfan, no other students in the intermediate class entered the top 100. On the second day, before the qualifying competition began, Fatty Vivian set up tables and chairs early to open a gambling game, and when opening the gambling game, he also sold a book analyzing the strength and characteristics of the top 100 players. A book with 1000 gold coins was very popular. 1000 gold coins could support an ordinary family for several years of affluent life. In the words of Earth, information is money. 1000 gold coins is not too much for Yunfan now. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle. Yunfan flipped through the manual with relish. Tentative ranking first, able carry, professional 4th level wind mage, combat power 2432, good at magical wind binding, professional analysis positioning control mage, has participated in the ranking battle 3 times, and the best result was the 2nd place in the last ranking battle. Tentative ranking 2nd, Smedley Peppers, professional 4th level flame fighter, combat power 2364, high burst, good at defeating the strong with the weak, practicing king level explosive fighting spirit, professional analysis positioning violent close combat, has participated in the ranking battle 3 times, and the best result was the 4th place in the upper realm ranking battle. The 3rd place is tentatively determined. Justin Renault, a 4th level earth fighter, with a combat power of 1734, a defensive fighter, who has cultivated the king level immovable fighting spirit. His career analysis shows that he is a high defense fighter. He has participated in the ranking battle 3 times, and his best result was 9th place in the upper realm ranking battle. The 4th place is tentatively determined. Jessine Stephen, a 4th level fire magician, with a combat power of 1644, who is good at the magic of the roar of the flame dragon, and his career analysis shows that he is an explosive magician. He has participated in the ranking battle twice, and his best result was 15th place in the upper realm ranking battle. Chapter 157 Rolt. Tentative ranking of 5th place, William Athena, professional 4th level water magician, combat power 1544, good at magic water godstorm, professional analysis positioning support type magician. He has participated in the ranking battle twice, and his best result was 17th place in the upper realm ranking battle. Tentative ranking of 6th place, Thorndike Stewart, professional 4th level berserker, combat power 1444, special violent physique, professional analysis positioning burst warrior. He has participated in the ranking battle 3 times, and his best result was 15th place in the upper realm ranking battle. Tentative ranking of 37th place, Dante, professional 4th level dark magician, combat power 1243, suspected of using drugs to upgrade when entering the intermediate class, professional analysis unknown. He has never participated in the ranking battle, his combat power is not bad, and his combat ability is unknown. Tentative ranking of 38th place, Pine Clarissa, professional 3rd level summoner, combat power 780, summoned creature hellhound, professional analysis positioning attack type summoner. He once participated in the ranking battle twice, and his best result was 38th place in the upper realm ranking battle. Compared with other people's records and introductions, Yunfan's introduction has nothing but combat power and magic attributes. When they saw that he was just entering the intermediate class, almost everyone's first impression was that this kid was piled up with public resources, and his combat power was not consistent with his own strength at all. As a visitor from Earth, Yunfan naturally knew the principle of playing the pig to eat the tiger, and then he was very happy to evaluate him. Perhaps because of the manual of the little fat man Vivian, after entering the 2nd stage of the ranking competition, many students have set their sights on Yunfan. It seems that this is a joke. They really treat me as a soft specimen. Yunfan curled his lips and said to himself, but fortunately, the information on this information is not comprehensive. Ji Yunfan's first challenge opponent is a 3rd level warrior named Rolt, who is ranked 42nd and has a combat power of 679. While everyone was discussing, Rolt appeared in front of everyone wearing a specially made 3rd level soft armor. Rolt jumped up and entered the barrier arena. He looked quite elegant, and there was a cheer outside the barrier. The soft armor on Senior Rolt looks very extraordinary. Don't you think that Senior Rolt has a high status? How can the equipment on his body be ordinary? That is a 4th level sable leather soft armor. Oh my god, it's actually high level armor. When you wear this thing, ordinary 4th level magic can't break the defense. This is too much bullying. What do you know? This equipment is also a reflection of personal strength. Otherwise, you can let Dante, that poor boy, get a set of this thing. The person who spoke obviously had some problems with Ji Yunfan. The 4th level sable leather soft armor was particularly dazzling and luxurious under the sunlight. Coupled with some very exquisite decorations on his body, Rolt looked like a king. In terms of styling, it seems that a lot of effort was spent, which formed a huge contrast with Ji Yunfan's ordinary school uniform. Ji Yunfan looked around and saw that there were about 100 people outside the barrier, most of whom were cheering for Rolt. Even many people who were ranked higher than Ji Yunfan were watching outside the barrier, obviously caring about Rolt. After Rolt wore such a high-end soft armor, his temperament was instantly upgraded by several levels. Rolt's shining appearance, the confident smile of a child from aristocratic family, and his body, fascinated some female students. What a cocky guy. Why do I feel so bad for this guy? Avril pouted. Damn, Rolt is a bloody guy. Can you count how many high-level weapons he has? Kim and others almost cursed when they saw this. Amy shook her head again and again, very worried. This is the equipment on the guy. I'm afraid it's hard to buy it, even if you have money. Elvis smiled bitterly. Kim and others walked outside the barrier and were immediately drowned in the other party's fans. At this moment, they were really worried about Ji Yunfan's comfort. Teacher Annie didn't care to look at Rolt standing there. Dante, I'm afraid you're in trouble this time. Although this Rolt's combat power is not as high as Dante's, as a member of the warrior family Rachel family, his combat experience should be much higher than Ji Yunfan, and warriors fighting mages in a limited space must have a lot of advantages. Coupled with the difference in weapons and armor, Dante is really passive this time. Even if he is a member of the Rachel family, he shouldn't have such luxurious equipment. Elvis suddenly said, I heard that Rolt has been very close to people from the Steven family recently. I didn't expect to meet a junior from the intermediate class here. It seems that the junior has good talent. I believe that the junior will achieve good results next year. Rolt stood in the barrier facing Ji Yunfan and did not attack immediately. Senior Rolt, are you so confident that you can beat me? You should know that my combat power is much higher than yours. Ji Yunfan asked with narrowed eyes. Fighting ability is not the only criterion for evaluating strength. How can a little guy like you who has not experienced the test of life and death be my opponent? Just surrender obediently. Rolt did not take Ji Yunfan seriously at all. Ji Yunfan shook his head, but did not say anything else, and took out his magic wand from the space ring. With a wave of his hand, several dark magic balls formed in front of Ji Yunfan. Instant magic. Rolt was shocked by Ji Yunfan's performance and quickly used his own fighting spirit to form a fighting spirit wall in front of him. The dark magic ball flew towards Rolt like a meteor. For a moment, Rolt was forced to be unable to attack by the dark magic ball. Rolt never thought that Ji Yunfan's attack would be so swift and fierce, one wave after another, putting him in such a passive situation. Rolt's eyes flashed with cold light. While resisting the attack of the dark magic ball, he took out a strange bone shield from the space ring. At the moment, when the shield was taken out, Ji Yunfan felt a chill for no reason. There is something wrong with this bone shield. Rolt held the bone shield upright in front of him, and the shadow magic ball released by Ji Yunfan was instantly annihilated after it hit the bone shield. Is this the forbidden shield? The deputy dean Walter Cotton, who was watching the battle, suddenly frowned. This bone shield came from a very ancient and evil cult called the Bone Cult. This evil sect was also very popular on the mainland, but in the end it was jointly wiped out by various forces on the mainland. Chapter 158 The Incredible Skeleton Warrior. In fact, the reason why the bone cult was hated and rejected by many forces on the continent was because of this forbidden shield. This bone shield can be immune to almost all elemental magic, but what really made it a taboo is not just because of these. The material used to make the bone shield does not come from dead things, but from living creatures. The bones of living creatures are extracted from their bodies alive, and then a very special alchemical method is used to make it. Is this thing the shield of the evil god? Yunfan was slightly stunned, and said to himself with some uncertainty, it seems to be that thing. I didn't expect that there are still people on the continent who can make the shield of the evil god. Even in the god realm, the method of making the shield of the evil god has been destroyed by the gods. For a long time, there has been a legend among the gods that the immortal king and his subordinates are not native gods of the god realm, but from the Kuska continent. Now it seems that this legend seems to be true. The forbidden shield is a term on the Kuska continent, and it is called the shield of the evil god among the gods, because the one who made the forbidden shield is David Maximum, the first evil god general of the immortal king's vehicle. Fortunately, the level of the evil god's shield in front of me is not high, just the level of the 3rd level armor. If it reaches the 4th level, it will be difficult to deal with. Yunfan muttered softly. With the power of the god's shield, Rold quickly approached Yunfan. When he stood 3 meters away from Yunfan, he suddenly slashed at Yunfan with a gorgeous fighting spirit. Yunfan waved his magic wand lightly and secretly released the alloy skeleton warrior number 1 from his undead world. Yunfan dared not let others know that he had an undead world. You know, this thing is very rare even in the god realm. Oh my god, is this still a skeleton warrior? Seeing the skeleton warrior blocking Yunfan, many students watching the battle outside the barrier exclaimed. The skeleton warrior has been transformed and upgraded by Yunfan many times. From the appearance alone, it has nothing to do with the skeleton warrior. The gorgeous alloy armor is like a general returning in triumph, emitting a dazzling light under the sun. This guy is such a spendthrift. Can't he be less willful to dress up a skeleton warrior with such luxurious equipment? Several alchemy students who were watching the battle analyzed the light on the armor and found that the skeleton warrior's armor used no less than 5 kinds of expensive and rare materials. Yunfan was not nervous at all and didn't care about the reactions of the people outside the barrier. He said, "No one, block the attack." Although Yunfan's skeleton warrior was very gorgeous, it was just a skeleton warrior in the eyes of others. Almost everyone thought that the skeleton warrior could not block Rolt's attack at all. However, what no one expected was that after the skeleton warrior's alloy bone knife slashed Rolt with Rolt, it actually chopped Rolt back 3 steps. The strength of this skeleton warrior is probably not lower than that of a 3rd level advanced warrior. Many people were shocked when they saw the scene in front of them. The next second, the pupils of the skeleton warrior instantly emitted a series of dark blue flames, which seemed to have a slight rhythm. Is this an emotion fluctuation? Not far from the barrier, Walter Cotton frowned again, and muttered to himself with some uncertainty, but soon denied his opinion. I must be getting old and confused. Skeleton warriors are the lowest level of undead. Even if they are transformed by alchemy, they can't have emotion fluctuations. The base is connected, and magic appears. A ball of blue flame suddenly sprang up on the alloy bone knife of the skeleton warrior. The hot flame elves jumped and jumped, eager to ignite all the objects around that can burn. What's going on? How can a skeleton warrior release magic flames? God, I must be dreaming. Almost everyone, including Yunfan, was shocked by this sudden situation, which completely broke people's understanding of skeleton warriors. What did he do? How could he make the skeleton warrior release magic? Yes, isn't the magic flame red? Maybe blue? When the attack power of the magic flame reaches a certain level, it will also change to other colors. Generally, only magicians above the 4th level can do this. The situation in front of us should not be like this. It is amazing enough that the skeleton warrior can release magic. If it reaches the level of a 4th level magician, how can we live? A 2nd level fire magician smiled bitterly. Senna, you are right. From the perspective of the power of the flame, it is not enough to cause a qualitative change in the magic flame. This should be related to the skeleton warrior itself. This kid actually has such a hand. It's really hard to say how far he can go. Teacher Annie also smiled bitterly. On the other side, Rolt seemed to be in no hurry at all. In his opinion, no matter how powerful the skeleton warrior is, it is still a skeleton warrior. The speed is not the same level as his own. Even if he can release magic, what can it do? The nature of waste cannot be changed. Today I will completely destroy the skeleton warrior you have forged with great difficulty. Fight. Rolt quickly circulated the fighting spirit in his body, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. Even many of the spectators outside the barrier were shocked by this aura. Red slash. Rolt gave up attacking the skeleton warrior and went towards Yunfan instead. Yunfan saw Rolt's intention at a glance, so how could he let Rolt get what he wanted? Dark trap. Yunfan smiled slightly, raised the magic wand in his hand, and a black pentagram appeared under Rolt's feet. 5 black beams of light shot up into the sky, and Rolt's actions were blocked at once. Although the shield of the evil god was immune to magic of the same level, it was still a little weak against trap-type magic. The skeleton warrior suddenly walked towards Rolt, and the alloy knife fell on the shield of the evil god in an instant. What no one expected was that the shield of the evil god, which made people shudder, was destroyed by the alloy knife in an instant and collapsed. Asshole, you actually destroyed my shield. Rolt's eyes were full of anger and hatred. In order to obtain the evil god's shield, he paid a great price and even sold his soul. You deserve to die. Rolt madly slashed at the black light column with his weapon. The powerful fighting spirit slashed with the power of destruction, as if to destroy everything. However, the fighting spirit slashed at the black dark element light column, sparking sparks. Chapter 159. Taking drugs. No one, give him a fatal blow to end the battle. Yunfan thought, and ordered the alloy skeleton warrior. After receiving Yunfan's order, the skeleton warrior's eyes flashed with blue flames, and he slashed again. Rolt had lost the ability to think because of anger at this moment. In anger, Rolt suddenly took out a bottle of potion from the space ring. Is this taking drugs? The students watching the game sighed. You know, taking drugs in the ranking battle is absolutely not allowed. It is a foul, and will be directly suspended, and even held accountable. Student Rolt, please give up your current practice immediately, otherwise, the consequences will be very serious. I hope you will not make mistakes. The supervising instructor reminded loudly. However, Rolt seemed not to hear the words of the supervising instructor. He turned a deaf ear to it. Anger had made him lose his mind, and wanted to destroy the guy in front of him. There seems to be something wrong with this kid. Sakadan's voice suddenly came to Yunfan's mind. It seems that someone has forced him to grow up fast. Now he is trapped in the desire for power, and cannot extricate himself. When he encounters something unsatisfactory, he will infinitely expand the resentment in his heart. This seems to be the training method of the Immortal Legion. Rolt finally poured the bottle of potion of unknown origin into his mouth. Then Rolt's expression suddenly became ferocious. His face flushed red, and the blue veins on his forehead kept jumping violently, like a few caterpillars crawling. From a distance, he looked like a demon, extremely cruel. A strong breath came from his skin, turning into waves of evil. Even when he stood there, the first impression he left on people was that he was not a human, but a complete monster. What potion did he just drink? Many people, including Yunfan, were shocked. Raw. Rolt looked up to the sky and roared inhumanly, and then he actually directly broke the shackles of the dark trap. Rolt's aura was getting stronger every second. What kind of potion is this? Yunfan's face was no longer calm, and he carefully observed Rolt. If I'm not mistaken, this is the crazy demon potion that the Immortal Legion used. Once you take the potion, you can improve your strength by 1 level in a short period of time, but you will become a monster without any mind during this period. But it seems that this crazy demon potion is only a semi-finished product. Sakadan reminded. Dark elf who has no scruples, I borrow the amazing magic power from you in the name of the contractor, and turn it into a shackle, to corrode the sin in front of you. Dark despair. Yunfan would naturally not sit still and wait for death at this moment. He was seen waving the magic wand in his hand while communicating with the magic base with his mental power, and fully mobilized the 18 dark magic bases. The 4th level special magic Dark Despair is the dark magic with the highest attack power that he can release now. The powerful magic fluctuations shocked everyone present. But what everyone did not expect was that the powerful 4th level special magic Dark Despair hit Rolt, but only knocked him away without causing much damage. Yunfan seemed to have expected this result long ago. He chanted the magic spell again, and with a light flick of his hand, a black halo flew out from his hand. The black halo flew out, carrying an endless sense of mystery. What kind of magic is this? Why have we never seen it before? Is this the latest new magic? How is this possible? How old is this guy? The black halo fell instantly, trapping Rolt in it. These black halos burned around Rolt. What's going on? Isn't Dante a dark magician? What's the matter with the flames on his magic halo? The key is that I can't feel any fire magic element. Several powerful mentors outside the barrier were in a state of confusion. This guy, could he be a relative of your goddess Lucky? How come so many incredible things happen? What's going on? Even Sakadin was puzzled. Who said that combustion must require fire element? Yunfan suddenly asked. Isn't it like this? Sakadin was slightly stunned. Fire magic is fire magic, and the combustion of matter is the combustion of matter. These are two completely different concepts. Theoretically, as long as there is enough oxygen, any substance can burn. Yunfan suddenly said something, but no one understood what it meant. The different history of civilization development made their cognition of the world fundamentally different. People on the continent are just used to treating magic as a gift from the gods, which belongs to the development of the spiritual level, but there is no magic element on the earth, where Yunfan lives. They observe the whole world from a scientific perspective. The essential difference makes them have different views. If you want people on this continent to understand the nature of matter, unless Yunfan teaches them what science is first. Yunfan does not want to spread science in this world for the time being. The magicians on this continent have always believed that the god of element has given them the talent to communicate with magic element. It can be said that except for Yunfan, other magicians have faith. They believe in the gods of element of various magic systems. Yunfan's approach is tantamount to atheism, and even fundamentally denies the existence of gods. In Yunfan's view, gods are just cultivated from the weak. His path is a departure from the classics in the eyes of other magicians. It is possible that he will be hated and eliminated by those powerful gods. Besides, even if you go to tell them that the dark element is actually a substance that can burn after getting enough oxygen, others may ask him what oxygen is. How do you let him answer? This is actually an unsolvable problem. Just say why torches burn. This is an extremely common phenomenon. People are used to it and don't find it strange. What no one expected was that Rolt seemed to be a little afraid of the magic aura released by Yunfan, but soon Rolt forgot the fear and looked up, staring at Yunfan with a bit of cruelty. The violent power was getting stronger and stronger, and it seemed to have no limit. Yunfan's dark magic aura seemed to gradually lose its effectiveness. Yunfan, be careful. This guy's current state seems to be devouring your magic element. Sakadin suddenly reminded. Beast, you dare to take the forbidden potion, you are looking for death. The supervising magic instructor had already entered the barrier at this moment, and quickly released the 1st to 5th level binding magic wind abyss. Chapter 160 Assassination. The supervisor originally thought that with his 5th level binding magic, he could control Rolt, but he still underestimated the crazy magic potion. Rolt was only bound for a short period of time, and he broke free directly. The blood-colored sword slashed at the supervising magic instructor in an instant. The supervising magic instructor's face changed instantly, and in a flash, the supervising magic instructor was knocked out. If it weren't for the alchemy props on him, he would probably be killed instantly. The supervising magic instructor looked at it with lingering fear. Vice-Dean Walter Cotton instantly appeared in the barrier. Bind. Vice-Dean Walter Cotton's skinny right hand lightly pointed at Rolt, and he was directly fixed in place. No matter how Rolt struggled, he could not get rid of Walter Cotton's bondage. Rolt's challenge failed. After saying this, Vice-Dean Walter Cotton waved his hand and flew away with Rolt. Although Dante's game was over, many students began to discuss this qualifying match. I really didn't expect you to grow to this point, Teacher Annie said happily. After seeing Yunfan's battle, the students who were originally eager to challenge him rarely challenged him. Yunfan was also happy to be idle. After Ji Yunfan celebrated with everyone, he prepared to go back to the dormitory to rest. The night was getting darker and darker, and some birds flew quickly through the forest from time to time. Suddenly, he looked into the distance vigilantly and saw several shadows flashing in the woods 100 meters away. It seemed that several figures passed by. Ji Yunfan frowned slightly, waved his right hand, and a black light ball appeared out of thin air and went into the woods. The second level dark exploration magic shadow tracking is not used for fighting. The magician can directly see and hear things through the shadow demon through mental power, which is sometimes very useful. The shadow demon is outward, and its breath is not easy to be detected by people. It is very suitable for spying on various intelligence, exploring terrain, etc. However, in order to seek higher attack power, dark mages rarely learn this magic. The shadow demon quickly detected several figures in the distance. Through the eyes of the shadow demon, Ji Yunfan saw 5 people in black robes hiding in the shade of the trees. Ji Yunfan controlled the shadow demon to hide in the shadows. His eyes penetrated the darkness and checked the situation of the 5 people. The 5 people were chatting. That man is Dante. He is not a supernatural being. I didn't expect this guy to be worth 10 million gold coins. We have to be careful. There are still many strong people in the academy. Once we meet them, we will definitely die. That kid seems to sense our presence. How is it possible? Of course, we have investigated. Although that kid still has some of his own, he is just a rookie. We can kill them without anyone noticing. Ji Yunfan has heard everything these people said through the shadow demon. Ji Yunfan frowned slightly. Killer? Or someone from the Steven family? It seems that these 5 people came here to attack him. However, these 5 people are not weak. 2 4th level and 3 3rd level strongmen. 10 million really thinks highly of me. Ji Yunfan shook his head. The voice of one of them is very familiar. Ji Yunfan thinks he has seen him somewhere some time ago. It's a bit difficult to deal with. Ji Yunfan frowned. If there were only 1 or 2, he could easily deal with them, but it would be a bit difficult if there were 5 of them. Dark trap. Dark bondage. Ji Yunfan did not attack the 5 people directly, but used magic to leave a trap, carefully hiding his body, and slowly approached the place where the 5 people were. Although the opponent's strength is relatively strong, the enemy is in the open, and I'm in the dark, so it is not impossible to fight. These killers thought they were hiding very deeply, but they didn't know that their every move was now clearly grasped by Ji Yunfan. Boss, I always have a feeling of being spied on now. Has that kid discovered our existence? One of the killers suddenly felt something strange, as if there was something strange peeping at him in the corner, although this feeling was very faint, so faint that it flashed by. Do you think this is possible? Could it be that my feeling is wrong? The killer frowned, and his eyes full of doubts looked around the surrounding scene coldly. Very sharp feeling. Ji Yunfan frowned slightly, but fortunately his leader didn't take it seriously. Ji Yunfan secretly arranged everything. In the eyes of these killers, although Ji Yunfan's performance was a little weird, they were all harmless actions. These killers sit in the dark shadows, holding their breath, trying to find the right time to give Ji Yunfan a fatal blow. At this time, the 2 sides seemed to be playing a game to see who could improve. The shadow demon also hid in the shadows and did not move. Ji Yunfan was only 20 meters away from these killers. Although Ji Yunfan was very confident in his own strength, he did not dare to underestimate these killers, otherwise, he might really capsize in the gutter. But fortunately, he has seen every move of these killers, but these killers don't know this. If he can be more careful, he can also lead these killers into the trap and get rid of them effortless. Boss, that kid seems to be walking towards us. In that case, we can't miss this great opportunity. You know we have to succeed in one strike, otherwise we will be in danger. Don't worry, boss, this is not the first time we have done assassination. We have assassinated even 5th level strongmen before. Several killers were still very confident in their assassination skills. To be honest, it doesn't take all 5 of us to kill this kid. I alone is enough. Don't be careless, kid. This little guy has caused a lot of losses to the Steven family. He is a ruthless person. If it weren't for the 10 million gold coins, I really want to let him go. Young man, am I worth only these 10 million gold coins? Ji Yunfan pouted. The shadow demon was hiding only 5 meters away from the killer at this moment. Its figure was completely blurred. If you don't pay special attention, you can't find it at all. Several assassins have completely restrained their auras. Although they don't believe Yunfan can detect their presence, as an assassin, hiding oneself in the dark at all times is their first standard of doing things. In their opinion, it is better to be safe than sorry. However, they don't know that Yunfan has a second that is like a bug. Chapter 161 Teasing. I always feel like I'm being spied on. After finishing this job, I should take a proper rest. Otherwise, I'll get sick from exhaustion, and it won't be worth it. The assassin leader thought to himself. Just when these assassins thought Yunfan was about to approach them and prepare to attack with thunder, Yunfan suddenly changed his walking route. Atash, oh my god, you are such a bad boy. Sakadin's evil smile sounded in Yunfan's heart. Just when these assassins thought they had lost the chance to kill Yunfan suddenly stopped, slapped his head, and pretended to have forgotten something, and said to himself, oh, how could I forget what I promised Princess Avril and the others? Then, under the gaze of these assassins, Yunfan slowly turned around again. After walking a few steps, Yunfan turned back again. These assassins were also a little depressed at this moment. What on earth are you thinking? Hope, disappointment, hope, disappointment. Kevin, go down and check first to make sure the patrol team of the academy is not here. The assassin leader groaned slightly. The little mice who are afraid of the light, can't be too reckless in the academy. The whole academy is full of big guys. The danger of this matter is still quite large. He is unwilling to take risks himself. Kevin was a little depressed, wondering why he was asked to go, but he didn't dare to refute the leader's words, nodded and walked away. The rest of the assassins followed Yunfan secretly. They didn't dare to be careless. After sensing that someone had left through the shadow demon, Yunfan raised his eyebrows slightly. This is a good opportunity. It is still too difficult for Yunfan to deal with 5 people with his strength now, but if he faces a 4th level strongman, there will be no suspense. Although Kevin is at the same level as him, he can be regarded as a magic and martial arts double cultivator. Even an ordinary 5th level strongman can fight. What's more, where is this place? Alkalan College, Yunfan's home ground. These killers dare not make too much noise, otherwise, even if they kill themselves, they can't escape. Under Yunfan's control, the shadow demon turned into a black light, flew back, and quickly caught up with Kevin. Yunfan suddenly ran towards Kevin. Damn, this guy really discovered our existence. Get rid of him quickly. If he provokes the college patrol team, we will be in danger. The killer leader's face suddenly changed. Yunfan felt the 4 killers following closely, and a cold arc appeared at the corner of his mouth. He was not ready to confront these killers head on. With a thought, he quickly approached Kevin. Fuck, what's going on? Why do I have a vague feeling of uneasiness in my heart? Kevin suddenly felt a strange breath. He stopped and looked around vigilantly. What the hell is that? He suddenly saw a black shadow like lightning in the distance, rushing towards him quickly. Dark sword. Shine. Before he could react, Kevin felt his body pierced, a stream of hot blood splashed out, and then he felt dizzy, and finally fell to the ground in disbelief. Damn this bastard killed Kevin. The killers were shocked at this moment, and their faces were dark and terrifying. The killer named Kevin never figured out how he was killed until his death. Since he practiced fighting spirit, he has assassinated hundreds of times, if not thousands, but he has never encountered such an attack. How could he know? How many secrets are hidden in Yunfan? It turned out that Yunfan used space magic to directly hit the dark sword into the body of the killer Kevin. But he never had the chance to figure it out, or they simply couldn't figure it out. Suddenly, Yunfan felt a murderous intent locking on him, and a sense of crisis penetrated his vest. He was startled, and suddenly moved to avoid the attack of the assassin leader. Such a sharp move. I didn't expect you to fool me. You are not just a dark magician, right? Since you already know, why are you asking me? Tell me, who hired you to kill me? As a dying man, what's the use of knowing this? The assassin leader said coldly with a blank expression. Just the 5 of you? I should be considered to be only 4 of us now. Yunfan said with a mocking look. Although I don't know what conspiracy you used to kill Kevin just now, can't the four of us kill you? Although the assassin leader was a little worried about Ji Yunfan's method just now, he didn't think that Ji Yunfan could kill the four of them alone. Although I can't kill you, as long as I can hold you back and wait for the college patrol team to come, that's enough. Ji Yunfan said with a smile. You are the only one who can hold us back. I don't know whether to say you are confident or arrogant. Really? You think I can't do it? Magic circle. Ji Yunfan's eyes flashed with a wicked light. At this moment, the killers realized that Ji Yunfan had already set traps around them. Damn, when did you do it? The killer leader's face changed. Is it that time? No wonder I felt that your behavior was strange. It turned out that you were ready to do it at that time. No wonder you were able to play those big families in the palm of your hand. You really have some tricks, the killer leader said while looking at the magic circle set by Ji Yunfan. This magic circle is really special. As an experienced killer leader, he naturally has some research on magic circles. At this moment, he was already chilled. He had already felt the murderous intent. As a killer, his intuition was still very sensitive. Just when the killer leader was stunned, the figure of a skeleton warrior suddenly solidified beside him. With a whoosh, a cold light flashed in the dark night. The assassin leader took a step back, and then a bloody mark appeared on his arm, and streams of blood gushed out. Is this the skeleton warrior that has been rumored? I didn't expect that he is so powerful. The assassin leader was shocked. There are many things you didn't expect. Ji Yunfan smiled coldly. Ji Yunfan never thought of letting the assassins who came to assassinate him go. The assassin leader opened his mouth, but didn't say anything. But he was alert, because Ji Yunfan was too weird. Chapter 162 Patrol Team. The moonlight was dim, with a bit of solemn silence. Break the trap. Kill this guy. Please, you guys are assassins, not bandits, okay? Ji Yunfan sneered at the four people. A real assassin should kill the opponent with one strike, when the opponent has no reaction or awareness. After hearing Ji Yunfan's words, several assassins were obviously very angry. In their opinion, Ji Yunfan's words were definitely an insult to them, but they also knew that Ji Yunfan's words were the truth. Dark corrosion. Ji Yunfan would not give these assassins a chance to escape. A dark mist appeared in front of him and floated towards the assassins. Seeing the dark mist flying over, the pupils of the four assassins suddenly shrank. The leader of the assassins took out a magic scroll from his space ring and opened the magic scroll instantly. A blue barrier appeared in front of them, protecting them. The assassin narrowed his eyes, releasing a cold killing intent, and slashed at Liu Yan's trap as fast as lightning, trying to break Ji Yunfan's trap as soon as possible. The trap was broken directly, and then the assassin leader snorted coldly, and a halo of fighting spirit suddenly burst out from his body. A high-level attack weapon dagger on his body burst out a faint blue light, and he directly used the ghost step and stood up towards Ji Yunfan. After such a long period of training, Ji Yunfan can be regarded as a veteran and has rich combat experience. In this critical situation, he no longer cares about his face and rolls from the ground to the other side. Ji Yunfan was in a state of shock. Facing the assassin leader, he suddenly pulled out a long sword from somewhere and stabbed the assassin leader in the neck. The assassin leader was also experienced and immediately felt the crisis coming. He quickly dodged to the side. Although Ji Yunfan's fatal blow did not hit the vital part, it also directly penetrated his right chest. The assassin leader's face was pale and his pupils contracted. You are actually a high-level warrior. It is a taboo for assassins to rashly assassinate without understanding the opponent's methods. They did not take Ji Yunfan seriously from the beginning. In their hearts, Ji Yunfan was just a little kid who had just started out. Alas, you didn't even investigate this point clearly? Ji Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth slightly, pretending to look down on these assassins. The reason why Ji Yunfan said this was actually to anger these assassins and make them lose their sense of proportion. Just as Ji Yunfan expected, these assassins had lost their usual calmness. The second lesson I want to teach you is that as an assassin, you must stay calm at all times. Now that your hearts are in chaos, how can you assassinate me? Ji Yunfan said, reciting a magic spell in his heart, and a black longsword suddenly appeared in his hand, and then Ji Yunfan threw the black longsword in his hand. Do you still want to kill me with this method? The assassin leader smiled sarcastically at the black longsword that was flying at him. Really? Ji Yunfan didn't seem to care at all, and said coldly with a slight smile on his lips, flash. The smile on the assassin leader's face suddenly disappeared, and his pupils instantly became dilated. It was very incredible. He couldn't figure out until his death why the black longsword suddenly disappeared, and then appeared again, and stabbed into his neck. How is it possible? In just a moment, Ji Yunfan killed another one, and it was the leader of the assassins. In terms of strength, the assassin leader is still stronger than Ji Yunfan, but the assassin leader is not clear about Ji Yunfan's methods. It is a taboo for military strategists to act rashly when they don't know the depth of the opponent. Ji Yunfan first angered the opponent with words, and then suddenly launched an attack. At the same time, the way of attack was also completely unexpected by the assassin leader. Mixed with the power of space teleportation, in such a short time, the assassin leader had no way to react, so he was attacked by Ji Yunfan's shadow sword, and killed in one blow. Seeing their leader being killed, the remaining assassins were very angry at first, but then they were replaced by fear. You must know that among these assassins, the leader is the most powerful, and now their leader died unclearly. But now they have no choice. Only by killing this weird guy in front of them can they escape. The remaining 3 assassins all stood up and took out their signature skills. 2 level 4 assassins have been killed, and the remaining level 3 assassins are naturally no longer in Ji Yunfan's eyes. Looking at the assassins flying towards him, Ji Yunfan's eyes flashed with cold light, and then he used all his fighting spirit to kick them in the air. There was a loud bang. One of the assassins was kicked in the abdomen by Ji Yunfan, and flew back dozens of meters, and fell to the ground. Damn it. How could this kid be a magician and a martial artist? The other 2 assassins looked down at the assassin lying on the ground and were furious. They originally thought that Ji Yunfan was just a rookie, and felt that his combat experience was not rich, but now he had killed 2 or 3 of his companions in succession. Now they can no longer feel the breath of their companions. They look like they are completely dead, and have no chance of survival. Ji Yunfan showed a cold smile at the corner of his mouth and stood there. He would not be soft-hearted to these assassins who wanted to take his life. After killing 3 in a row, there were only 2 left. The remaining 2 assassins looked at each other. Although they hated Ji Yunfan now, they still knew their own limitations. The person in front of them cannot be defeated. Escape. The 2 words and the word were said almost at the same time, and then the 2 people fled in all directions. At this time, the patrol team of the academy had also discovered the movement here, and rushed over quickly. How could these 2 assassins who wanted to escape the pursuit of the patrol team with the academy's tutors and the team, and soon the 2 were caught back. Classmate, can you tell me what happened here? The patrol team members looked at Ji Yunfan with a scrutinizing look and asked, and the voice was indeed a bit aggressive. You still have the nerve to ask me what happened? Why is the security in our academy so bad? There are assassins sneaking in, and you didn't even rush here until now. Ji Yunfan naturally would not have a good attitude towards these patrol team members who questioned him. Others respect me 1 foot, and I respect others 10 feet. This is Ji Yunfan's principle in life. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 College Meeting. How could someone come to assassinate you for no reason? I think you have done something to offend me. Even if I did something that angered the heavens and the people, it's none of your business, right? You are from the patrol team, and now someone comes to the academy to assassinate the students of the academy. Ji Yunfan felt deep hostility from this patrol team student. He felt that the patrol team student in front of him should know him. Ji Yunfan looked at the patrol team student in front of him thoughtfully and said in a deep voice, "You seem to have forgotten your duties. Isn't it a bit of putting the cart before the horse? These members of the patrol team are usually high and mighty. When have they been questioned by ordinary students? Did I say anything wrong? Ji Yunfan said lightly. If I'm not wrong, you seem to be targeting me from the beginning. He is right. These killers were able to sneak into our academy. Our negligence cannot be separated. The middle-aged man dressed as a tutor took a look at the patrol team student who was still preparing to defend himself at that time, walked over, and said with a gloomy face, "I'm sorry, teacher, I just had a bad attitude." Seeing that the student from the patrol team hurriedly apologized. "I don't care if you have any conflicts with him. I hope you remember that you are a member of the patrol team, and your words and deeds represent our patrol team. If something similar happens again, you don't have to stay in the patrol team." The middle-aged teacher turned his head and cast his eyes on Ji Yunfan. "Student, you just said it well. This is the college. You suffered suicide in the college. We should apologize to you." The middle-aged teacher said decisively. "It seems that our management has been too loose in recent years. There are people who don't take our college seriously. Don't worry, student, I will definitely give you an explanation." The students in the patrol team felt very unhappy with Ji Yunfan's attitude and secretly made up their minds to find an opportunity to discipline him. Although Ji Yunfan didn't know that he was already on the mind of the patrol team members at this moment, he wouldn't feel anything, even if he knew it. Now it's not the time when he just came to this world, and he has a lot of trump cards. Moreover, there are rules in the academy, and he doesn't believe that these guys will be lawless. The students of the patrol team have begun to check the identities of the assassins. The members of the patrol team found 2 silver and 1 bronze tokens on their bodies. After seeing the 2 tokens, the middle-aged instructor showed a horrified expression and asked in disbelief. It turned out to be the bronze assassin and silver assassin of the Killer Association. "Did you kill these 3 people?" Ji Yunfan touched his nose. "If there is no one else here, I killed them." The students of the patrol team would never believe that Ji Yunfan's strength had improved to such an amazing level. The middle-aged mentor exclaimed in disbelief. "You can survive the suicide of a silver assassin and kill 2 silver assassins and a bronze assassin. It's incredible. Even if I'm not prepared, I may be killed by them. How did you do it?" Actually, I accidentally discovered their whereabouts," Ji Yunfan said with a bit of embarrassment. "It should be better luck. This is not just luck. If you don't have the strength, even if you find their whereabouts, you can save your life. You are actually able to kill them." The middle-aged mentor looked Ji Yunfan up and down, as if he wanted to see something from him. "Forget it. Everyone has their own secrets, and I'm not a gossipy person." Seeing that the middle-aged mentor did not mean to break the casserole to ask the bottom of the matter, Ji Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief. He did have some trump cards, but he didn't want these trump cards to be known to others so early. The more secrets others know about him, the more dangerous he is. After asking about the suicide attempt, Ji Yunfan told some insignificant things, but he didn't mention his trump card. Looking at Ji Yunfan, who turned and left, the middle-aged instructor's eyes flashed with a strange light. This kid is really not simple. He can be so calm after being suicided. But these guys from big families are getting more and more presumptuous. Looking at Ji Yunfan going away, the patrol team student who had just had a conflict with Ji Yunfan flashed a look of disgust on his face. In the meeting room of Alkaline College, many senior leaders of the college sat at the round table. "I think you have heard that Rolt actually used the Forbidden Shield and Forbidden Potion in the ranking battle. I don't need to say that the appearance of these 2 things, you should also know what it represents, right?" Vice Dean Walter Cotton said in a deep voice. "Hasn't the bone cult been wiped out by everyone many years ago? Could it be that they have revived again?" Another Vice Dean level figure, Rowan Patrick, responded. "There may be some fish that slipped through the net during the eradication. Damn it, if the bone cult really develops again, the consequences will be disastrous. This matter is no longer something our academy can handle. Let's inform other forces about this matter. It's just that this matter involves the Rachel family. Rolt is a member of the Rachel family. I'm afraid. Even if it's a member of the Rachel family, so what? The bone cult destroyed many major forces back then. It is impossible for the Holy See to allow the bone cult to return to the mainland again. Even the Rachel family would not dare to do such a big thing, right? In that case, then this matter is settled. Walter Cotton's eyes became a little deep. I really don't know when Ardeen will be able to return. The situation of the entire empire and even the entire continent is now unclear. At this time, the middle-aged mentor who led the inspection team knocked on the door and walked into the parliament room. Mitchelson, why are you here? Did something happen? Vice Dean Patrick asked with a frown. Dean Patrick, this is what happened. A killer has come into our college. The middle-aged instructor Mitchelson said in a deep voice. Mitchelson, are you kidding me? Who dares to come to our college to commit murder? Vice Dean Patrick asked in disbelief. Chapter 164, Challenging J. Stephen. The middle-aged instructor Mitchelson did not say anything and directly took out the identity token he had taken from the assassin. It turned out to be a silver assassin. Who are these assassins here to assassinate? Walter Cotton's face was terribly gloomy. Reporting to the dean, these 5 assassins are here to assassinate a student named Dante. Mitchelson replied. Dante, could this be the student that rolled challenge today? Walter Cotton asked with a flash of inspiration in his eyes. Yes, it's him. I didn't expect this little guy to be able to cause trouble. Walter Cotton sighed softly. How is he now? Has he been killed? Forget it. Just tell the truth. Alas, I thought too much. How could he escape from the hands of 2 silver killers and 3 bronze killers? Walter Cotton shook his head. It's a pity for Rudolph's expectations. I think you must have made a mistake, Dean. Among the 5 assassins who came to assassinate him, 3 were killed by him and only 2 escaped by chance, but they were still caught by our patrol team. What? Say it again. Many college executives present were shocked. Of the 5 assassins who tried to kill him, 3 were killed by him and only 2 managed to escape, but they were still caught by our patrol team. 2 of the 3 assassins he killed were 4th level masters. I didn't expect this guy to have such a trick. We already know about this matter. Send someone to investigate what happened. The honor of the academy cannot be violated. Through the conversations of those assassins, Yunfan was actually certain that the person who came to assassinate him was hired by the Stephen family. Yunfan really hated the Stephen family's tyranny. On the second day of the challenge, Yunfan directly chose to challenge Jesse Stephen. Damn bastard, you dare to choose to challenge me. I must teach you a lesson and let you know that the honor of our Stephen family cannot be violated. Jesse Stephen's face became a little ugly. Jesse Stephen was the first top 10 to be challenged. You are very good. Jesse Stephen stood in the barrier and said to Yunfan in a gloomy tone. Of course I'm fine. Did you just realize it? Yunfan smiled lightly, as if he was calm and composed. The moment he stepped into the barrier, he could no longer remember how many pairs of eyes were filled with jealousy and ridicule towards him. Yunfan saw the smiles of overestimating one's own abilities and trying to challenge the top 10 elites directly on their faces. You are too overestimating yourself. You actually want to challenge the top 10 elites directly. In this world, there are always some smart people who look at everything you do with their eyes. They seem to be gloating over other people's misfortunes, but in fact, they are deeply jealous in their bones and look at everything you do that seems to be particularly extraordinary with their ugly faces. They first deny themselves, trap themselves in a mediocre cage, and live in a rule that they think no one can jump out of. They think everyone is the same as them. Some people just love to follow the crowd, just love to show off their IQ and superiority. Wealthy aristocrats. Stephen family. Challenge. Start. With an order, the instructor directly announced the start of this challenge that Yunfan had been looking forward to for a long time. Flowing fire. Although Jesse and Stephen thought that Yunfan could not be his opponent, he still did not dare to relax. He took the initiative and completed the construction of the magic submodel in an instant. He released it skillfully, and waves of fire elemental air spun rapidly and rushed towards Yunfan. Reincarnation. Jesse and Stephen continued to chant his magic. Multi-level magic was an extension of ordinary magic. In an instant, the fierce fire element in the entire barrier suddenly accelerated. Jesse and Stephen's face was reflected by the fire element and his clothes also moved with the wind. Flames flew, and countless flames danced in the air. The fire waves descended on the area where Yunfan was. The flames were everywhere. As long as Ji Yunfan was in the barrier space, it was impossible to escape. The fire element is a relatively violent element among many elements. It has a high agility and attack power. Flowing fire is a skill that is very advantageous in combat. The range of flowing fire is always a whole area. Once it descends, once it is covered by the fire element, it must escape the covered area in a very short time, otherwise it will be burned directly by the flames. The second stage of magic has higher attack power and faster speed. Those who can't keep up with the speed can't get rid of this area covered by the fire element at all. Flowing fire binding. Then Jesse and Steven continued to release the second stage of the magic of flowing fire, and the next second Ji Yunfan was directly pulled in the air. There is no way. The element of fire is a bug among many elements. It is really brainless, because flowing fire is the least technical, but the most practical of all magic. Oh my god, why doesn't this kid resist? Why does he stand there motionless? Is he really stupid? If it were me, I would have set up the defensive magic long ago. A magician who is bound would be over now. Ji Yunfan didn't resist. If it were some magicians with a little common sense, they would choose magic resistance when facing flowing fire. Only in this way would they not be easily controlled. Want to control me? Ji Yunfan was grinning at this time. Since I'll let you bind me, I'm sure I can escape. Break. Ji Yunfan just moved his mouth slightly, and his body broke free from the shackles of Liu Ho. How is this possible? How can you break free from the shackles? Jesse and Steven asked incredulously. Almost everyone was very curious about how Ji Yunfan broke free from the shackles. How could they know that in addition to being a magician, Ji Yunfan was also a master of fighting spirit and a 4th level warrior? Maybe your magic control ability is too low, Ji Yunfan said in a tone that was infuriating. Dark corrosion. A black cloud suddenly appeared on Ji Yunfan's palm. Ji Yunfan did not throw the black cloud directly at Jesse and Steven, but scattered around him. With a light flick of his palm, the black fog surrounded him. What exactly does this kid want to do now? No one, including the supervisor, could guess what Ji Yunfan was up to. The black mist was floating around Ji Yunfan, slowly spreading throughout the barrier. The mist of dark element did not have much effect on Ji Yunfan. However, the vision of others, including Steven, was a little blurry. Looking up, Ji Yunfan, who was standing in the black mist, smiled and looked at Steven with a bit of provocation. Chapter 165. Dark Music. Ji Yunfan didn't want others to know his trump card, so the role of dark corrosion was just to block other people's sight. I can't see clearly what happened inside. Many people complained. He broke free from the shackles of the flowing fire directly. This kid is really interesting, Walter Cotton said with a smile. Even if the magic students who are still in school have learned magic, their use of magic is very simple. Many students who have not experienced fighting subconsciously use magic for direct attack when releasing magic. In fact, any kind of magic has many uses. Many magics after the 4th level can be released in the second stage. The second stage of magic of magicians is rarely the same. This has a lot to do with the positioning of the magician itself. For example, if it is released in a certain area to cause continuous burning and form a piece of flame, it will form a firewall that blocks the road and can be positioned as a fire magician of a control flow. Dark music. Descend. Ji Yunfan stood in the flames and instantly constructed a magic base model. It's only been half a year, and this kid can actually release the second stage of magic. Another black fog appeared around Ji Yunfan. This time the black fog covered a wider area. Darkness descended. What the hell? I could see some blurry figures at first, but I can't see anything this time. Flowing fire explosion. Although Steven didn't know what Ji Yunfan wanted to do, he was not worried. He believed that any conspiracy would be exposed in the face of absolute power. Flowing fire explosion was Steven's famous magic. The blazing flame explosion was incredibly hot and could burn everything. A dazzling red flame with a long flame tail passed by and swarmed towards Ji Yunfan with incredible accuracy. Here it comes. Flowing fire explosion. There were many people who knew Steven. When they saw Steven release flowing fire explosion, they were all worried about Ji Yunfan. Flame Tyrant was the nickname given to him by Steven's opponents, which showed how violent Steven was. After seeing Steven use his signature skills, they were still a little upset. Dante's magic power is not as good as Steven's. He will be very passive next time. Amy said with some worry. Don't worry. Kim didn't think so. He has always been optimistic about his brother Dante. Yunfan smiled slightly with his usual smile, as if everything was under his control. The flowing fire explosion fell quickly, but the people outside the barrier could not see the situation inside. Yunfan suddenly moved and took several steps before the magic approached. The hot flames fell on the original position of Yunfan and exploded instantly. Although Steven saw Yunfan's looming figure in the black fog, he could not see the specific situation at all. What on earth does this bastard want to do? Dark sword. Flash. Yunfan was ready to use the opponent's killer's method to deal with Steven. Because killing the opponent was not allowed in the qualifying competition, Yunfan did not directly cut the opponent's vitals. Dang. Yunfan heard a crisp sound and frowned slightly. Although other people couldn't see the situation clearly in the black fog, he could see clearly that the magic robe of Steven emitted a purple light, which blocked the dark sword. Damn, a magic alchemy item. It looks like it's of a higher level. A magic robe, and a high level defensive magic array. This is fucking krypton gold. A defensive magic array appeared out of thin air, which made Yunfan very upset. Steven was really scared. In the black fog, he had no idea how Yunfan attacked. If he wasn't wearing this high level magic armor, I'm afraid Steven didn't dare to imagine it at all. Very good. Boy, you really angered me this time. Although I can't kill you on the field, but if I'll let you lie in bed for 10 days and half a month, others won't say anything. Steven gritted his teeth and said viciously. It's just relying on a magic armor. Although Yunfan was very unhappy, his tone was extremely calm. This magic defense is also part of strength. You want it, but don't have it yet? Steven said sarcastically. I've just said that in the face of absolute strength, any small moves are meaningless. Really? If you think that I can't do anything to you in the black fog, then you are too naive. This fast that has lasted for half a year should also end. I will spare your life and make you live a life worse than death. This is the punishment for you offending my Steven family. Steven said with a sinister smile. Steven held the magic wand in one hand and raised it. In an instant, the whole venue was like a sea of fire, sweeping across the entire enchantment space. The manic flames soared up, scorching hot. Explosion storm. The flames descended, the temperature rose sharply, and even the black fog seemed to burn. This heat was like steaming the air. 4th level advanced magic explosion. Explosion sea of fire. Steven stood coldly and arrogantly among the dense flames like a fire god. My magic was originally used to challenge the first place, but I didn't expect it to be used on a little mouse like you. You should be proud of it in this life. The whole barrier was swirling with flames. The fire was hot and ruthless, like a nightmare disaster that suddenly came, as if leaving no chance for Yunfan to survive. You were burned to death by my flames. You can't blame me. Now you kneel down and beg for mercy. I will spare your life for the sake of our classmates. Do you mean for me to surrender to your Steven family? You think too highly of yourself. Yunfan's expression was extremely solemn. The students who were watching the ranking battle outside the barrier were all pale at this moment. Although they were not in the flames, the power of the flames alone made them feel like they were in a sea of fire. Steven is indeed worthy of being the genius magician of the Steven family. He can use explosive fire at this young age. Oh my god, the last time I saw Steven, he could only master flowing fire. After not seeing him for a year, he has even cultivated explosive fire. Fatty Vivian couldn't help but shout, Dante, this kid is definitely in danger. Fatty Vivian clearly remembered that during the ranking battle last year, Steven could only use flowing fire and his level was almost the same. He still hasn't mastered the 4th order advanced magic, but Steven has reached this level. The speed of cultivation is amazing, or maybe that guy has been hiding his abilities. Chapter 166 Shield of Thorns. It's over. It's over. Dante's dark element have already burned up. When the black mist burns completely, Dante will have nowhere to escape. A student sighed. Several school leaders who were watching the game couldn't help but shake their heads. Wait a minute, go stop the kid from Steven's family. I'm afraid he has already made up his mind to kill. Vice Dean Walter Cotton said to a tutor beside him. The Steven family is worthy of being one of the ancient magic inheritance families. I didn't expect that this kid could release 4th order advanced magic at such a young age. This kid is just 18 years old now. In a few decades, I'm afraid he will be a powerful mage level warrior. It's hard to say whether this is good or bad for the Empire. To be honest, the Empire is in a turbulent time now. It's not an exaggeration to say that it is facing internal and external troubles. I hope those families can restrain themselves. The Empire can't withstand too much of a blow. To be honest, if this guy didn't challenge Steven, he would still have a very good chance of entering the top 20. That should be it today. Miracles shouldn't happen. If Dante also has magic armor on him. Even if he has magic armor on him, it probably won't be of much use. The difference in strength between the two is not small. Dante, your strength is very good. You are qualified to be my little brother. As long as you follow me, our Steven family can forgive everything that happened in the past. Steven raised his head proudly, as if taking Yunfan as his younger brother was a charity to him. Yunfan smiled and shook his head. Are you so confident that you can defeat me? Huh, you don't understand. I have several pieces of magic armor on me. Not to mention an ordinary 4th level magician. Even a 5th level magician would find it difficult to break my defense. I have already been invincible. This is the so-called foundation, do you know? Many civilian students looked a little gloomy after hearing Steven's words. You know, many of them are talented people, but they progress very slowly because of the shortage of resources. This is the cruel reality. The fittest survive, and the unfit are eliminated. In order to have a good future, many civilian students become adventurers. Some civilian students give up their dignity for a good future and become the noble's lackeys to be driven by them. Yunfan still looked calm and indifferent. Hearing the word he said by Yunfan, Jesse and Steven felt a little aggrieved in his heart. He hated these two words for no reason. Do you know what this is? Yunfan suddenly took out a bottle of oxygen tank from the space ring. This is a new product launched in Yunfan's grocery store during this period. Is this oxygen? Steven looked at Yunfan in confusion, not understanding why this guy took out this thing. Although the stuff in it was very comfortable to inhale, it didn't seem to have any effect. Are you going to advertise your own grocery store at this time? Then I'll give it to you. Yunfan said as he threw the oxygen tank in his hand to Jesse and Steven. Looking at the oxygen tank flying towards him, Jesse and Steven was secretly on guard. He didn't think Yunfan would throw the oxygen tank to him, although the bottle was the same, and it should be filled with some messy things. Explosive flame fire blade. Bang! A shocking explosion suddenly sounded. It turned out that the oxygen tank was directly cut into two pieces not far from Jesse and Steven, and the powerful airwave pushed Jesse and Steven to the barrier. Arsehole, you cheated. Jesse and Steven trembled as he got up from the ground. Except for the magic defense on his body, the other clothes were already tattered. His whole body seemed to be falling apart. Which eye of yours saw me cheating? The use of magic scrolls is not allowed. No one said that throwing oxygen tanks is not allowed. Yunfan chuckled. What is going on? Vice Dean Walter Cotton's eyes suddenly widened. Using his powerful perception, he only captured the fire magic element released by Jesse and Steven. The hot and violent breath of the fire element far exceeded the scope of explosive flames. Is this explosive flame fire blade? Oxygen tank. He had heard of this thing and even went to Yunfan's grocery store to buy a bottle 2 days ago. Jesse and Steven was actually injured by his own magic explosive flame fire blade. This is nonsense, no matter how you look at it. Yunfan smiled evilly. In this world, science does have some effect. While thinking, Yunfan took out another oxygen tank from the space ring. Supervising instructor, he is cheating. I strongly request to end this qualifying competition, cancel his challenge qualification, and then punish him according to the regulations. Jesse and Steven's face turned green. The key point was that he didn't understand how Yunfan attacked him, and the armor on his body seemed to have lost its effect. In fact, it was not that the armor on his body had lost its effect, but the flames around him suddenly erupted after being ignited by the oxygen. The powerful impact force rushed him out, which was equivalent to being directly injured from the inside. The supervising instructor was a little hesitant at this moment. He had never encountered such a thing in the past. "Student, can you explain what is in your hand?" "This is a weapon." "Do I need to explain it?" "Instructor, didn't you say that except for magic scrolls, other weapons can be used?" The oxygen tank fell in front of Jess and Steven again. Jess and Steven's face changed, and he used his mental power to communicate with his magic armor. Shield of Thorns. Jesse and Steven awakened the thorn shield mark connected to his soul, and in an instant a green shield more than half a person's height appeared in front of him. That's the legendary weapon of the Steven family, the thorn shield. Many students watching the game looked very ugly. Most of these students were ranked in the top few, and were very confident in their own strength, but they never thought that the Steven family would give the thorn shield to Jesse and Steven to use. If that's the case, then why bother playing ranked games? Chapter 167, Why the Flame Burns. What else is this? The Shield of Thorns, the strongest defensive weapon under the artifact, the personal protective equipment of the first patriarch of the Steven family. Dark Arrow. Brother, what's the use of your second level magic? Many students couldn't help but shake their heads in disappointment after seeing the magic released by Yunfan. Why bother to make this meaningless struggle? The Shield of Thorns, the strongest defensive weapon under the artifact, is invincible in the same level. What no one expected was that Yunfan's Dark Arrow did not attack Jesse and Steven directly, but attacked the oxygen tank instead. Bang! There was another huge explosion. Without any signs, the flames suddenly exploded. Circles of fire snakes rolled around with the oxygen tank as the center, dancing violently. The rolling hot air and the air vibrated under the explosion, and the waves spread in all directions. Once again, Jesse and Steven was pushed to the barrier by the powerful impact. What people didn't expect was that under the protection of the Shield of Thorns, the injuries he suffered this time were more serious than the last time. Even Yunfan was covered in dust by this powerful explosion. What on earth is going on? Everyone was stunned and stared at the two people in the barrier. Yunfan couldn't help rubbing his ears, and he felt his ears buzzing. Oh my god. What did this little ancestor do? Exclamation mark. Confused, puzzled. People haven't recovered from the Shield of Thorns yet, and then they were blown up by Yunfan's explosion, and the shock in their hearts couldn't calm down. Everyone felt that the gods had played a big joke on them. Who can tell me what happened just now? The most common sense problem on Earth, that oxygen can help combustion, has exerted its unimaginable power in the other world. I surrender. With the shouting of these three words, Jesse and Steven collapsed directly to the ground, and endless humiliation filled his heart. All they have done is that they still can't calm down until now, and the ending is beyond everyone's imagination. You know, they were still sighing at the invincible existence of the Shield of Thorns a second ago, and ordinary people couldn't compete with it. Who knew that Yunfan gave them a big surprise in an instant? But how did he do it? Is Jesse and Steven just an actor? If you say that other people are actors, it's reasonable. But how could the people of the Steven family cooperate with Yunfan to perform? Teacher Annie, did you give Dante special treatment? How could Dante be so perverted? Avril couldn't help asking. This time, Princess Avril was completely convinced. In her eyes, Yunfan was an out-and-out pervert. She, Avril, is a princess with countless resources. She has been learning magic since she was a child. How long has Dante learned magic? It's only half a year. Today, it only took half a year to reach the 4th level, which is one level higher than herself. She has just mastered the 3rd level magic, and this kid not only masters the 4th level magic, but can even release the 2nd level. During this period of time, I thought I had gotten closer to Dante, but who knew that this guy's training speed was as fast as a divine beast? No, he was not in the academy during this period of time. He practiced all by himself. Teacher Annie shook her head. It's really incredible that this is the case. Although the qualifying battle was over, the discussion about Yunfan was indeed not over. Even the Vice President Walter Cotton personally called Yunfan into the office, and the two had a long talk. Oxygen. You used oxygen to beat Jesse and Steven in the qualifying battle? Can you tell me what happened? Yunfan was surrounded by the instructors of the academy at this moment. Of course. Yunfan smiled slightly. Before that, I have a question to ask all the teachers. How do you say that flames burn? Or where do flames come from? Isn't it because there are fire magic element in this world? Yes and no. Yes and no? Then let me change the question. If you use fire magic to light a torch, when the fire magic is removed, the flame will still burn. Is this because of the existence of fire magic element? All the teachers were stunned. This seemed to be a common phenomenon, and they had never thought about why before. But today, after Yunfan said this, they seemed to be common sense and ignored something. Have you ever thought about it? If you block the mouth of a creature, the creature will be suffocated to death. Why is this? Yunfan asked several questions in a row, and the teachers who asked him were stunned. These seemed to be common phenomena, but they had never considered why this was the case. They just thought that this was supposed to be the case in their subconscious. This is just like when Newton discovered gravity because of an apple falling on the earth where Yunfan originally lived. Often, fixed thinking is formed, and subconsciously, people feel that it should be like this. Gradually, they lose the desire to explore the truth and turn a blind eye. The instructors present didn't know how to answer. I conducted a series of studies based on these two phenomena. Later, I found that in a closed space, although the flame can continue to burn for a while, it will go out soon. If it is in an open area, the flame will continue to burn until the torch burns out. Because of this experiment, I came to a conclusion. What conclusion? There is a special element in the air. This element is different from the so-called magic element. It can not only support the burning of flames, but also support the breathing and survival of living things. Yunfan said lightly. What? The instructors present were shocked by Yunfan's remarks. Their first thought was that Yunfan was talking nonsense, but they also felt that what Yunfan said was true. So I conducted a series of research and finally extracted a new element from the air that is different from the magic element. I named this element oxygen. Breathing this new element can make the body and mind happy. Living things cannot survive in air that has been completely extracted of oxygen, and fire cannot burn in this air. Yunfan said lightly. What? There is such a magical element in the world, and we have never known about it? Even the two vice presidents of the academy were stunned at this moment. Chapter 168 Training Tower. Dante, if this is really as you said, your discovery should be the greatest discovery on this continent in thousands of years, and it may even change the world's pattern. Walter Cotton looked at Yunfan with deep eyes and said, Mr. Vice President, it won't be that serious, right? An ordinary tutor was already a little stuttering when he spoke. He didn't expect that Vice President Walter Cotton would have such a high evaluation of Yunfan. No, if this element really exists as Dan said, there may be a brand new system on the continent, centered around this oxygen. Many tutors are already full of curiosity about oxygen. They all decided to buy 1 or 2 bottles from Yunfan's grocery store after the meeting, and study it themselves to see if it is really as magical as Yunfan said. What Yunfan didn't say was that the oxygen he made was not purified from the air, but made by electrolyzing water. Yunfan didn't know what kind of impact his words would have on this continent. Many magicians and alchemists started to study the oxygen made by Yunfan and slowly started the research of scientific system. After the strange challenge with Jesse and Steven, no one challenged Yunfan anymore. This guy was so strange that even the legendary Shield of Thornshield could not stop him. However, some people were happy, while others were worried. Yunfan made a big splash, but the most unhappy one was the fat boy from Vivian's family. He had set up the bet and wanted to win a good chance, but who knew that this guy could actually make a comeback? Of course, the biggest prize of this magic challenge is not only to avenge the Steven family, but more importantly, the top 10 will have the opportunity to enter the Academy's training tower for 5 full days of training. When Yunfan was told to go to the training tower to train, he was slightly stunned. What is this training tower? Brother, you don't even know about the training tower. Kim looked at Yunfan in disbelief and said, isn't it strange not to know? Yunfan asked puzzledly. The training tower of Alcoran College is a famous training place in the whole continent. The ranking battle is not just for selecting members for the 4-school competition. The reason why students want to enter the top 10 is also closely related to entering the training tower to practice. But everyone who goes in never talks about what happens inside. What secrets does this training method have? You will know after you go in. Teacher Annie smiled mysteriously. It is said that many magicians who are stuck in the bottleneck of the rank have completed the breakthrough through this training tower. The training tower is located in the north of the college. Although Yunfan has passed by it more than once, he has never entered it. This training tower has a typical European style, grand and simple. The training tower is 700 meters high, and the entire shell is completely covered by Tewo stone. It can still be seen from a long distance. There is a special patrol team guarding here, and ordinary students in the college are not allowed to approach easily. It is said that the reason why Alcoran College was built here is because of the existence of this training tower. Vice Dean Walter Cotton brought the top 10 students in the qualifying competition to the so-called training tower. Yunfan, like the other 9 students, couldn't help but raise his head and look at the entire training tower, as if he wanted to find out the secrets inside the training tower. A golden door dozens of meters high, engraved with various mysterious patterns, makes people unable to help but fall into it at a glance. The domain rules are materialized. Sakadin's surprised voice suddenly sounded in Yunfan's heart. What the hell is the domain rule materialization? Whether it is a warrior or a magician, or other unconventional cultivators, if they want to break through to the 9th level holy level, they must create their own domain. In their own domain, the saint level strongman is omnipotent like a god. When the domain tends to be perfect, their own strength reaches the peak of the saint level. And above this door is the result of a saint level strongman materializing the domain he has comprehended. If anyone can comprehend it, there will be no obstacles before reaching the saint level. Sakadin explained. I didn't expect it to be this thing. Yunfan nodded with a little understanding and simulated the calculation in his mind. Yunfan, you kid should not think too much. The domain is not something you can comprehend now. You should be down to earth and take one step at a time. Sakadin seemed to have a hint of mockery, but he had just said half of his words, as if something was strangling his neck, and he shouted in disbelief, "What's the matter with your breath? Could it be that you have comprehended the domain?" It turns out that this so-called domain is like an ecosystem. Yunfan said slowly. What the hell is an ecosystem? After spending some time with Yunfan, Sakadin and Yunfan's tone of voice were somewhat similar, but he really didn't notice it. The sum of all organisms and their environment on the earth is called the biosphere. The biosphere is a closed and self-regulating system. The biosphere can be understood as an isolated small world. Yunfan naturally didn't know that the domain he comprehended was completely different from the single domain of others. It was a complete cycle, going back and forth, and never stopping. It was the prototype of a small world. He already had the capital to become a creator god. Yunfan explained the concept of the biosphere on Earth to Sakadin. Sakadin widened his eyes in disbelief. Is this a domain? Isn't the domain a single attribute? Don't look at the patterns on it. This thing is not something you can master now. When you reach the 8th level, you will be qualified to look at the things on it. Vice Dean Walter Cotton did not point out that the pattern on the door was left by the embodiment of the domain rules, because he was really afraid that these little guys would look at it and comprehend it without thinking about the consequences before knowing what it was. He had only touched the surface of that thing at this stage. If you rashly try to understand it now, you might lose yourself and eventually become a waste. I know that you are all arrogant. Many geniuses didn't believe in it and finally sank and perished. Upon hearing the vice president's words, except for Yunfan, almost everyone's pupils contracted. Although they subconsciously told themselves not to look at it, they were still very eager. Chapter 169. Gift from the Vice President. What this kid said is true. If you don't have the corresponding mental power, you will hurt yourself if you try to comprehend it rashly. Sakadin said to himself, but what kind of monster are you? Level 4. You can comprehend the domain at only level 4, and it is a domain that I have never heard of. Vice Dean Walter Cotton took out a golden key and inserted it into the door. With the insertion of the key, the golden door was opened instantly. Vice Dean Walter Cotton said to the students, "Okay, I will send you here. What you can get inside depends on your own ability. The training tower is divided into 3 floors. You can use 5 days to practice and challenge. Of course, the higher the number of floors in the training tower, the better the effect. Of course, no one has entered the 3rd floor, except the dean so far. Good luck to you, little guys." For some reason, Yunfan had a special feeling that there was something in the training tower that was closely related to him. Vice Dean Walter Cotton nodded slightly, indicating that the students could go in. "By the way, Dante, wait a minute, I have something for you." Vice Dean Walter Cotton remembered something and said to Yunfan, "Give me something." Yunfan was a little surprised. He and Vice Dean Walter Cotton should have no relationship. Vice Dean Walter Cotton waved his hand gently and exchanged a scroll from the space ring. The scroll was engraved with some star-like light spots and star tracks. "Boy, this old guy is quite interesting. He is generous. This thing has always been in the same vein for ordinary magicians." Sakadan smiled. "4th level advanced magic practice scroll, but I don't know what kind of magic it is." Jesse and Steven on the side also immediately recognized the scroll sent by Vice Dean Walter Cotton, with a sour and envious look. "After you have experienced this trial of the training tower, you will surely go further. The Eternal Night scroll is given to you, just to give you one more choice." Vice Dean Walter Cotton paused after speaking, and continued to explain the purpose of the Eternal Night. "Thank you, Vice Dean. Don't be too proud, kid. Although this training tower is good, it is impossible for you to reach the advanced level of the 4th level. It is only the biggest help to push you to the advanced level of the 4th level. If you want to really break through to the intermediate level, you are still a long way to go." Jesse and Steven said coldly. Jesse and Steven now hates Yunfan to the bone. As the proud son of the Steven family, when has he ever been insulted like this? Yunfan has completely ignored Jesse and Steven at this moment. If conditions permit, he can kill Jesse and Steven directly. The training tower can be said to be a completely enclosed space, built of black boulders, and each black boulder is carved with some strange magic arrays. Yunfan looked at these magic arrays. He could recognize the functions of some magic arrays, but many of them seemed to be 4 level but not 4 level. If nothing unexpected happens, they should be some high level gain magic arrays. This is the 1st floor of the training tower, and it's not very good. Yunfan was a little disappointed. Ignorance. Steven glared at Yunfan and said viciously. Yunfan shook his head slightly and ignored Steven. Seeing Yunfan's performance, Steven was so angry that his teeth itched, but because he was in the training tower, he didn't dare to do anything. Don't look at the 1st floor, which is just made of stone. With the blessing of those strange magic arrays, everyone can feel a strong force that oppresses them all the time. When they take a step towards the training tower, the sense of oppression increases. It is indeed a good magic array. The pressure array plus the mental impact array and the gravity array. Practicing here can indeed increase the speed of practice, sharpen the mental power, and finally achieve the effect of breakthrough. It seems that the person who built the training tower really took great pains. Because the time to stay in the training tower is limited, these students did not stay at the door for long, and walked into the training tower. Neither the magician nor the warrior felt anything at the beginning, but as they went deeper and deeper, the pressure became greater and greater. Several people trembled and walked to the center of the 1st floor of the training tower. At this moment, they were already sweating profusely. What is this training tower all about? The students felt a little helpless. The warriors could withstand the oppression of the gravity array, and the magicians could withstand the mental shock, but when these 2 arrays were combined, they would be in trouble. In desperation, they had no choice but to practice in place, hoping to adapt to the oppression inside as soon as possible. Yunfan saw that others had stopped practicing, but he had no intention of stopping, and walked directly to the stairs on the 1st floor of the training tower. Damn, what's the matter with that bastard? Why are we so tired? But that guy seems to be fine. Jesse and Steven said directly. The other 8 students all looked at Yunfan in disbelief. They were all the proud sons of the empire. In their eyes, Yunfan was just a lucky upstart, and his background could not be compared with this. And now, the upstart in their eyes is slapping them in the face in his unique way. Several students who had originally sat down and were about to sit down and start practicing stood up again, trembling in the direction of Yunfan. With every step they took, they sweated more on their faces, and even their facial expressions became a little ferocious, and they thought to themselves, I'm the pride of the family, how could I be outdone by a guy who came from the mud? You kid has now aroused public anger, and now they all want to grind you to ashes. Sakuden said with a grin. Those who are not envied are not geniuses, but fools. If I care about their opinions, how can I stand at the top of the continent? Yunfan said as he walked forward without changing his expression. He didn't stop until he reached the first step. Seeing Yunfan stop, several people breathed a sigh of relief. This kid is actually not much better than us, right? Of course, Yunfan didn't know what others were thinking at the moment. If he knew, he would definitely tell them, brothers, you guys are overthinking. I'm much stronger than you, I'm just very interested in these stone steps. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, Demon Ceiling / There are ancient inscriptions on the stone steps. Sakuden's voice suddenly sounded. I'm afraid the origin of this training tower is extraordinary. Yunfan observed for a while and did not find anything special. When he was about to go to the next level, the seedling of the world tree in his sea of consciousness suddenly began to make a strange trembling sound. What's going on? Yunfan felt that the seedling of the world tree in his sea of consciousness seemed to be expressing something to him, but the meaning was very obscure. He attached great importance to the seedling of the world tree that brought him to this world, and the seedling of the world tree did not disappoint him. It had saved him from danger many times. He believed that the seedling of the world tree would not signal for no reason. The most important thing is that without the help of the seedling of the world tree, he would never have achieved his current achievements. What do you want to tell me now? At this moment, the golden lines on the stone steps suddenly flew out from the stone steps. No one except Yunfan could see these golden lines. Then these golden lines rotated and flew towards Yunfan. Finally, these lines sank into Yunfan's mind. Yunfan couldn't help but mutter to himself. Although he had never seen those words before, he seemed to understand the meaning of each word. Fighting skill, Sealing Demon / the strongest fighting skill of the ancient fighting god King Solomon. The introduction of Sealing Demon / was very simple. Except for the name of the practitioner, nothing else was known. The god of war fighting skill Sealing Demon / I didn't expect you to be able to get this thing. Sakuden said in surprise. From what you said, this thing is amazing. Didn't I tell you before? There are only a few real main gods. Each of them has a godhood created by the god of creation, representing the most original power in the world. But among the many main gods, there is an exception. That is the god of walking Solomon. Yunfan listened to the secret legend while walking along the first floor of the stairs to the second floor. The other students who came in with Yunfan wanted to keep up with Yunfan, but they found that they had tried their best to reach the first floor of the stairs. It was impossible to step directly on the stone steps. In desperation, they had no choice but to stay under the stairs to practice and adapt to the pressure of the first floor as soon as possible. They didn't know that, because of Yunfan's existence, they already had many more students than before. Yunfan was like a mountain pressing on them, with pressure, but also more motivation. The moment he stepped into the second floor, Yunfan felt that all the pressure on him disappeared, and then he felt that the environment he was in gradually changed. He felt as if he was in a vacuum all of a sudden. There was nothing in the world except him. He seemed to be immersed in the sea, and couldn't extricate himself. Gradually, he heard his own heartbeat. Master, you have been working for 14 hours in a row. You should rest now, otherwise the mistress will be angry. A voice suddenly sounded behind Yunfan. Mistress? Yunfan was already in confusion. He felt a mess in his mind. What's going on? Did I accidentally travel through time again? Ji Yunfan muttered softly, trying to communicate with his sea of consciousness with his thoughts, but the sea of consciousness was empty, as if there was nothing. Ji Yunfan turned around and saw a girl standing in front of him and said, "Master, what's wrong with you? You are not here to be depressed because the experiment did not succeed. This is not like the master's style." "Xiaohu? Master, what's wrong with you? You don't even recognize Xiaohu, do you?" The girl seemed to be a little at a loss and looked at Ji Yunfan. "No, you are not Xiaohu. Xiaohu died 20 years ago. Who are you?" Ji Yunfan looked at the girl in front of him with a wary face. "Master, I'm Xiaohu, the auxiliary intelligent robot Xiaohu you made 20 years ago." The girl said very aggrievedly, "Are you the robot I made?" Ji Yunfan seemed even more confused at this moment. He looked around and found that the environment he was in was almost exactly the same as the environment in his original laboratory. Could it be that I have traveled back from that world again? But how did I come back? "Master, the mistress is here." Xiaohu spoke in a hurried tone. "If the mistress knew that you stayed up all night here to work overtime last night, she would be very angry." Ji Yunfan secretly glanced at the mirror not far away with the corner of his eyes. From the mirror, he saw that he was no different from his previous life. "Yunfan, you didn't stay up all night again." A familiar yet unfamiliar voice sounded from behind Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan turned his head to the woman in front of him and was slightly stunned. "Amy? What Amy? Yunfan, who is this Amy you are talking about? Judging from the name, it should be a girl's name." The woman seemed to be a little angry and stared at Ji Yunfan and asked, "Isn't it Amy?" Ji Yunfan thought to himself, "I'm Avril." "Master, how could you mistake the mistress?" Xiaohu looked at Ji Yunfan in disbelief, as if something terrible had happened. "By the way, Yunfan, how is your research on the mysterious seed?" Avril suddenly asked. "The mysterious seed is not." Ji Yunfan was about to say, "Hasn't it sprouted?" Suddenly he seemed to think of something and stopped again. Ji Yunfan shook his head slightly. A sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Who are you? Where is this place? I didn't expect you to find out so quickly." As soon as Avril finished speaking, the surrounding environment changed. Ji Yunfan returned to the training tower again. "I'm the tower spirit of the training tower. You know, I'm very curious about what that seed is. As a tower spirit, I can read everyone's memory, but your memory is the only thing I can't read, especially the information about the seed. It seems to be blocked by something. So you created this illusion? Want to steal the information about the seed from me?" Ji Yunfan curled his lips. He didn't have any good feelings for the tower spirit who wanted to pry into other people's hearts. Chapter 171 Amazing Legend. "I understand that you are very unhappy about me stealing your memory, but I actually have a reason for doing this." The tower spirit didn't seem to care about Ji Yunfan's attitude at all. "Young man, perhaps you don't know that there is a particularly evil race in this world. They have destroyed this world more than once. And under this so-called training tower, a king-level master of their clan is sealed. And that clan will send people from time to break the seal and release their king." Ji Yunfan was shocked by the other party's words at this moment. "This world has been destroyed more than once? What race are you talking about? Where there is creation, there is destruction. This world has also experienced countless civilizations, such as the immortal civilization, the demon civilization, the technological civilization, and the magic civilization. But every time a civilization was destroyed by a certain race, we call that race the destruction. To be honest, if I hadn't felt the breath of the creator clan on you, I wouldn't have told you so much. You should know that creation and destruction are two opposing but interdependent forces. Since the power of the creator clan has appeared, I'm afraid the destruction clan will also return to this world again. Forget it, there's no point in telling you so much. Since you've broken through the environment, go to the third level first. By the way, you must remember that you must not mention what I told you to others, otherwise the whole continent will be in chaos. I didn't expect that you actually knew so many secrets of the continent, Tower Spirit. Don't worry. Even if I spread what you told me, I guess no one would believe it." Ji Yunfan smiled bitterly. "Now think about it. What you said is still too far away from me. If the sky falls, there will always be someone taller to hold it up. Now I'm not even a bigger ant. Don't be so self-deprecating. Your talent is quite good in our country. It should be comparable to my original master. Your original master? King Solomon, the god of war. So your master is really him. Forget it. Let's think about these things later. The third floor? I want to see what mystery there is on the third floor. Yunfan said as he walked towards the stairs to the second floor. This time when he walked up the stone steps, he didn't feel any pressure. On the stone steps of the second floor, he also got some golden words. The great destiny art. I didn't expect you to be able to get this art here. Sakuden heard Yunfan muttering and couldn't help but exclaimed. Is it very powerful? You should remove the word ma. Legend has it that at the beginning of creation, the book of creation evolved 3000 magic arts. The god of creation wanted to practice all 3000 magic arts, but there was one magic art among the 3000 magic arts that he could not practice successfully, no matter how he practiced. That was the great art of destiny. There is only one person who can practice this magic art, the Lord of Destiny. No one knows where he came from, and no one knows where he lives. He comes and goes without a trace, and is the most mysterious god in the world. How come another Lord of Destiny appeared? There are a total of 12 main gods in this world, who possess the godhood of the main god, and no matter how strong his gods are, they can never condense the godhood of the main god level, because the godhood of the main god level has involved the origin of the world, so this world only allows one to exist, and those gods who possess the power of the main god are called Lords of Heaven. If you want to become the main god of this system, you must kill the main god with the godhood. Over the years, there has only been one god who has killed the main god. Who? The Immortal King. The third floor of the training tower, 11 iron men of various colors stood majestically against the wall. Yunfan was slightly stunned when he saw these 11 iron men. Do I have to deal with these 11 iron men on this floor? Yunfan, I didn't expect there would be such a thing here. You are rich. Sakuden's tone was very excited, as if a good thing had fallen from the sky. What are they? They are just 11 iron men. What do you know? How can these be 11 iron men? They are clearly 11 godheads. Godhead, Sakuden, are you mistaken? Go and see what is written on the stone tablet in front. Stone tablet? Yunfan didn't notice it at first. There was really a stone tablet standing not far away. The words on the stone tablet didn't stump Yunfan. He quickly read the contents of the stone tablet. The stone tablet roughly means that the owner of the training tower used 12 pieces of lower level godhood to create 12 mechanical men. If you can defeat one of the mechanical men, you can obtain a piece of godhood in the mechanical men. Originally there were 12 mechanical men here, but now there are only 11 left. I'm afraid one of them has been defeated, and his godhood has been taken away. According to what the vice president and the others said, it should be the dean who took away the godhood. No wonder the training tower is silent about what is in it. Even if there are only 11 pieces of lower level godhood, it's scary enough. How long has it been since anyone on the entire continent has been able to become a god? The godhood in their bodies may have been lower level godhood at the beginning, but after a long period of loss of divine power, it has degenerated into demigodhood. As long as you can refine one of the demigodhoods, there will be no obstacles on the road to becoming a demigod, and it can even allow you to comprehend the domain and master the rules of God in advance. Sakuden, stop talking so much useless stuff, and quickly think about how to help me seize a godhood. Yunfan felt unprecedented pressure from the mechanical men. Even when facing the vice president, he didn't feel this way. Yunfan, I'm so sorry. I'm afraid I can't help you this time. Your strength is too different. You know, each of these mechanical people has saint level strength. Sometimes, we are really powerless in the face of absolute strength. Is there no way at all? Yunfan was really unwilling at this moment. No matter who it was, no one could resist the temptation of the godhead. Not necessarily. There is no way at all. If you can control the mysterious tree in your body, you may be able to do this. Sakuden said in a deep voice. How sure do you think you are? To be honest, I can't say for sure. The sapling in your body is really unreasonable. Little ancestor, what do you think we should do? Do you think I should fight? Yunfan tried to communicate with the sapling of the world tree with his mind. Chapter 172. 11 Demigods. The seedling of the world tree in Yunfan's sea of consciousness shook twice in a proud and coquettish way. My little ancestor, what do you mean? Are you helping or not helping? You mean this kind of garbage is not worth your effort? My little ancestor, are you going against the will of heaven? You can't handle them at all, right? Yunfan deliberately asked in a suspicious tone. It seemed that, because it sensed Yunfan's suspicion, the seedling of the world tree could no longer sit still. It shook violently in Yunfan's sea of consciousness, and then flew directly out of his brain sea of consciousness, and flew towards the 11 mechanical men. Yunfan's heart suddenly rose to his throat. You know, these mechanical men in front of him are saint level. Although his own world tree is mysterious, it is still in the seedling state. Yunfan really regrets it now. He feels that he should not fool the seedling of the world tree. If something bad really happens, it will be bad. In Yunfan's heart, the seedling of the world tree is still very important. It accompanied him from that world to this world. What Yunfan didn't expect was that the mechanical men seemed to turn a blind eye to the saplings. Until the roots of the world tree were completely rooted in the mechanical men, the 11 mechanical men didn't react at all. Could it be that these mechanical men are out of order? Yunfan muttered in disbelief. It seems impossible. Sakurden was speechless. He never thought that the saplings of the world tree would be so buggy. After a while, the semi-godhood like a gem flew out from the 11 mechanical men and rotated around the saplings of the world tree. As the semi-godhood flew out, a mechanical man collapsed to the ground like scrap metal. Oh my god, this is incredible. Sakurden exclaimed. I didn't expect that he would choose you. This is your opportunity. I hope you can cherish it. At some point, the tower spirit came to Yunfan's side, looking at the saplings of the world tree with a complicated expression, as if he was trapped in a distant memory. After obtaining 11 semi-divines, the seedling of the world tree did not stay in the air for long, but returned directly to Yunfan's sea of consciousness. The 11 semi-divines echoed with the seedling of the world tree in Yunfan's sea of consciousness. Although he had obtained all 11 semi-divines, he did not know how to use them. I have never encountered such a situation before, nor have I heard of it, so you need to grasp and explore everything yourself. The tower spirit shook his head. Excluding the 2 days on the second floor, Yunfan has not been on the third floor for a day, so he can stay in the training tower for 2 days. Because of the help of the tower spirit, Yunfan felt a spiritual force-like substance directly from the training tower into his sea of consciousness. More than 7,000 scales of spiritual power and 24 magic bases, which are several times more than when Yunfan just entered the tower. His current strength is already considered to be a 4th level advanced level. Seeing that there were still a few hours before leaving the tower, Yunfan took out the training scroll given to him by Vice Dean Walter Cotton and looked at it. The Eternal Night magic, although it is not the most powerful magic in the dark magic, is also a very good magic. This magic is powerful, allowing the magician to hide in the darkness like an assassin. Many second stage magics are more bizarre than the assassin's methods. Why are you really going to practice this magic? To be honest, I still have a lot of high level dark magic, but the degree of bizarreness is indeed not as good as the Eternal Night. Starting from the 4th level, all magics basically have multiple levels of magic, and each magic has dozens of level variants, which is much more diversified to practice, so each level will generally only practice and specialize in 1 or 2 magics. The choice of magic is generally based on one's own situation, making a positioning, determining the direction of practice and choosing magic. Don't you think this magic is very suitable for me now? Besides, the 4th level magic is just a transition for me now. I believe that it won't be long before I can break through the 5th level. Yunfan said very confidently. What you said seems to make sense. Yunfan followed the Eternal Night training scroll and began to build a magic submodel. For ordinary people, it would take a long time to build a 21 magic submodel, but these difficulties did not exist in Yunfan's eyes. Because of the improvement of his mental power, Yunfan's calculation speed was much faster than before. It took less than half an hour to simulate the model in his mind. How could there be such a perverted guy like you in this world? Seeing that Yunfan only took 2 hours to complete the model that he had spent 10 days and half a month to build. Sakadan felt that he was a fool. Well, it's almost time. You can leave. Little brother, I hope that, when I meet you next time, your strength will be much better. Tower Spirit looked at Ji Yunfan and said solemnly. Ji Yunfan and the other 5 were teleported out. The Tower Spirit stood on the 3rd floor of the training tower and sighed. Little guy, I hope you can grow up quickly. Otherwise, I'm afraid there is no hope for this world. It seems that you have gained a lot this time. Vice Dean Walter Cotton nodded at the 10 people who returned from training. The college competition is about to start. I hope you can improve your own cultivation in the last period of time and strive to get a good ranking. You should know that our ranking has not been very good in recent years. Not only is the ranking not very good, in fact, it can be described as horrible. It has lost in the competition for 4 consecutive years and ranked last every time. If it ranks last again this year, it may lose the opportunity to be recommended to the advanced college. At that time, these so-called 4 colleges may become a joke. Although Alkaline College is known as one of the 4 major colleges in the empire, according to the college level on the continent, it is only an intermediate college with the other 3 colleges. The highest level of magic that can be learned in the college is only the 6th level. If you want to systematically learn more advanced magic in the college, you must be admitted to the advanced college. There are several ways to join the senior college. The first is to be recommended by the intermediate college, the second is to participate in the college's assessment, and the third is to be specially recruited by the college tutor. Chapter 173, Ouroboros Empire. The Imperial Council Chamber of the Nurgle Empire. Your Majesty, the Ouroboros Empire has sent the Lion Legion to station at Girardo, the border of the Empire. It won't be long before they will use their military force against us. The war of the Empire is probably inevitable. Rudolph looked around at the people sitting at the round table and said, the Emperor of the Nurgle Empire, Ken Archer, had a terribly gloomy face. Ouroboros Empire, Kerry Bront. What on earth does he want to do? Provoking an imperial war is not good for anyone. The nobles in the council chamber were silent for a while. Your Majesty, according to the spies we sent out, this matter was not decided by Kerry Bront. According to the news, the Emperor of the Ouroboros Empire, Kerry Bront, fell ill 3 months ago, and now Queen Helen should be in power. If this is true, there may be a big problem in the Ouroboros Empire. Could Queen Helen be the orphan of the Berkeley family? Ken Archer seemed to have thought of something and suddenly asked. Yes, that's her. I didn't expect it to be the descendant of that rebellious family. No wonder she would provoke the Imperial War. She came here for revenge. A minister sitting next to Ken Archer said. If it weren't for the betrayal of that family, the Nigel Empire would not have fallen to a first-level empire. Another minister also shouted. Okay, now is not the time to talk about these meaningless things. The most important thing now is to think about how to defend against the attack of the Ouroboros Empire. Your Majesty, you worry too much. Isn't friction between empires happening from time to time? Maybe everyone is just thinking too much. This is just an internal adjustment of the Ouroboros Empire, a newly appointed minister said. Ken Archer frowned slightly, obviously disliking this guy's laxity. Many of these ministers in the cabinet are representatives of major families. They often consider the gains and losses of their own families. If their own families can get sufficient benefits, even changing dynasties is not impossible. Teacher Rudolph, if there is any news from the Ouroboros Empire, I will rely on you. Ken Archer turned his eyes to Rudolph beside him. Among the many ministers, only the teacher was his confidant. Your Majesty, please leave this matter to me, Rudolph said and left with 4 guards. Everyone looked at Rudolph's figure and shook their heads. They all had their own thoughts, but Rudolph was the mainstay, so they could not achieve their goals. Ken Archer saw everyone's expressions in his heart. To be honest, he really felt very tired now. If it were not for the Empire, he really wanted to quit. Everyone in the Empire envied his position, but who knew that he was helpless sitting in this position? Since His Majesty took over the throne, it is rare to see his smile. Alas. Rudolph sighed halfway. After Rudolph walked out of the meeting room, he was still worried. Ji Yunfan naturally didn't know what happened to the high-ranking officials of the Empire at this moment. He was in the backyard of his grocery store making hot air balloons. The clerks in the grocery store had already known their boss very well, and they were not surprised. He was different from other alchemists. The things he studied were mysterious and strange, but each one seemed to have a unique function. Boss, something happened. Just as Yunfan was thinking about how to install the propeller on the hydrogen balloon, a boy dressed as a clerk ran into the backyard in a hurry. Kate, did something happen? Yunfan was a little angry that the guy in front of him had disrupted his thoughts, but he still asked very calmly, "Boss, someone is outside making trouble." The clerk named Kate said worriedly. At this time, Yunfan noticed that there seemed to be a quarrel outside the grocery store. "What's going on outside?" Yunfan said as he walked into the grocery store. "I saw a young man in his 20s with a pointed face and monkey cheeks holding a blue bottle and yelling there." There were already quite a few people outside the grocery store, pointing and talking about what was happening in the grocery store. "What's going on?" Yunfan asked with a slightly frown. "Are you the owner of this grocery store? I didn't expect that your store actually sells fakes." The young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks suddenly lit up his eyes after seeing Yunfan and started to pester Yunfan. "Fakes?" Yunfan was slightly stunned and seemed to have no reaction. Most of the things sold in the store were already made by him, so how could there be fakes? "Boss, I bought a bottle of oxygen in your store, but it is not oxygen but poison gas. My friend is dead because of using it. I came here today to ask for an explanation." The young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks said carelessly. Hearing this, Yunfan was slightly stunned again. He had never heard that breathing oxygen could poison people to death. No, breathing oxygen could indeed kill people, but it must reach an extremely high concentration. He was afraid that this problem would occur, so he had already added a small amount of carbon dioxide to the oxygen. "Boss, if you don't believe it, we can find an appraiser to see if there is something wrong with the contents of this bottle." The young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks saw Yunfan was a little hesitant and shouted loudly. This is quite interesting. They actually asked other alchemists to verify oxygen. Has anyone figured out what oxygen is? Yunfan's mouth curled up slightly, as if he had discovered something interesting. He wanted to see who was playing tricks today. "In that case, please invite the master you found to come out," Yunfan said lightly. He wanted to see what the guy in front of him was up to. The young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks quickly cast his eyes outside the door, and then an old man in his 60s or 70s walked in from outside. The old man was wearing a grey magic robe and walked with his head held high, as if he was some big shot. "Master Hatton, please do me a favor. I bought a bottle of so-called oxygen in this store. God knows what is in the bottle. My friend was poisoned to death because he inhaled the gas inside. That's why I want the highly respected Master Hatton to help me get justice." The young man with a pointed chin and monkey face pretended to be very aggrieved. Chapter 174 Trouble. "Have you brought the body of the friend you mentioned?" The old man named Hatton frowned slightly, not expecting that someone was already dead. "I brought the body of my friend. It's outside." Just as the young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks was speaking, two more people came in from outside the door, carrying a dead body in. The face of the body was black and the lips were purple, and it was obvious that he died of poisoning. The two people put the body on the ground, turned around and left. The old man named Hatton walked a few steps towards the body, came to the body and carefully looked at it. "It looks like he died of poisoning, no doubt. If he died of poisoning, does it prove that it was a problem of breathing my oxygen?" Yunfan said in a very calm tone. "How could it not be a problem of your oxygen? You know, my friend did nothing except breathing your oxygen." The young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks pretended to be very aggrieved. "What's the matter? Are you going to deny your debt?" "Master Hatton, everyone come and judge for me." At this time, some students outside the door also pointed and shouted. No one noticed that a golden man in a magic robe was sneering at everything in the grocery store in the crowd. "Aren't you awesome? I'm going to destroy your source of income today. Without money, how can you get resources for cultivation?" The students also raised their doubts in the crowd. Is the so-called oxygen really a poisonous gas? That person didn't really die because of breathing oxygen. If that's the case, we can't buy this thing anymore in the future. It's fatal. Yunfan has completely understood it at this moment. Isn't this just like the medical disputes in the hospital? The guy in front of him obviously wants to make a big deal. Young man, do you have anything to say? The so-called Master Hatton cast his eyes on Yunfan and said, what do I need to explain? Yunfan asked silently with a slight smile on his face. No one noticed that at this moment Yunfan had used his mental power to check the deceased's body from head to toe. Since there is nothing to say, you can see how to compensate. The so-called Master Hatton said proudly. Old man, I think you are wrong. This man's death has nothing to do with me. Why should I compensate? Young man, this is not good. You should pay back your debts. Master Hatton, I want to ask, how much money did you receive from others? Or how much money can you get from this matter? In this case, why are you throwing dirty water on me? Yunfan looked at the old man in front of him. Just when he was talking, Yunfan had already used his mental power to explore the old man in front of him. He found that there was no energy fluctuation on the old man in front of him, just an ordinary person. Boy, who am I, Hatton? Why do I need to throw dirty water on you? The so-called Master Hatton shouted a little loudly. You don't even know how this guy was poisoned and how he died, and you still have the nerve to call yourself a master? Yunfan said in a gloomy tone. How could I not know? He was obviously poisoned to death, and there was no wound on his body at all. So you concluded that this guy died because he inhaled my oxygen. I wonder if you have heard of a poison called Rainy Night Mandragora. Yun shook his head gently and said calmly, if I'm not mistaken, your brother is an adventurer and went to the Rainy Night Forest not long ago. How do you know? The young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks asked back in disbelief. Because I know how he was poisoned and what poison he was poisoned with. Rainy Night Mandragora is a very strong plant toxin, but this kind of toxin is very special. Under normal circumstances, even if it is poisoned, it will not take effect immediately. It will have a period of incubation. As for why he was poisoned to death, it is because he has passed the incubation period and reached the poisoning period. So your friend's death has nothing to do with me. Do you know now? Yunfan said calmly. I didn't expect it to be like this. Boss, we are disturbing you. Seeing that his conspiracy had been exposed, the young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks was ready to turn around and leave. Since your friend's affairs have been explained clearly, you should also give me an explanation. Yunfan came to the front of the sharp-nosed and monkey-faced young man and blocked his way. Boss, didn't I say it? This is just a misunderstanding. Since he died of oxygen poisoning, I'll leave. The sharp-nosed and monkey-faced young man was completely different from when he just entered the grocery store. I think this is not just a misunderstanding. Is he really your friend? Yunfan pointed at the body lying on the ground and asked. Of course he is my friend, right? How could I bring him here if he is not my friend? Since he is your friend, why don't you take his body away? Yunfan said in a deep voice. Oh, boss, I'll take his body away right away. The sharp-nosed and monkey-faced young man was about to help the body lying on the ground. Okay, you don't have to pretend anymore. As soon as you walked in, I knew that this guy was not your friend at all. Tell me, who ordered you to come here? Boss, what are you talking about? Why don't I understand? Really don't understand? Young man, please forgive others when you can. How about giving me a favor? The so-called Master Hatton said, by taking advantage of his seniority. I'll give you a favor, but who are you? Yunfan said coldly, do you really think you are a so-called master? Young man, what do you mean by this? I, Hatton, have been identified as a master certified by the Union. How dare you insult me like this? Be careful. An ordinary person who is not even a magician dares to say that he is a magician? You kid dare to insult me like this. Just wait. The so-called Master Hatton threatened Yunfan while retreating until he escaped from the grocery store. What happened just now? Why did Master Hatton run away? What the junior student said just now can't be true. The so-called Master Hatton is just an ordinary person who is a liar. The blonde young man outside the grocery store who had been paying attention to the situation in the store suddenly became gloomy and scary. I didn't expect that guy to be a liar. Chapter 175 Caesar City. You actually cheated our Steven family. Old man, just wait for death. The blonde young man outside the grocery store whispered resentfully. After this commotion, the law enforcement team of the academy also rushed over. After asking what happened in the store, they took the sharp-nosed and monkey-faced young man away. Yunfan didn't say much about this. In the academy, apart from the Steven family and him, he really couldn't think of anyone else to mess with him. Dante, why can't I see you these days? Have you made something interesting again? Take it out quickly for this princess to appreciate. Avril brought Amy and other members of the mercenary team to Yunfan's grocery store. Your Highness, I have indeed been researching a small thing these days, but this little thing has not been successfully researched yet. When the research is successful, I will definitely give you a special edition. Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth slightly. This is what you promised, Kit. I didn't force you. Avril raised her little head proudly. All the members of our team are here. Princess, are you going to take another mission? Yunfan asked with a smile. No, there will be an auction in Caesar City these 2 days. I want to take you to see it, Avril said proudly. To be honest, Avril has never been to Caesar City, but she won't say it. Auction? It seems very interesting. Yunfan nodded with a smile. Avril, I think we'd better not go to Caesar City. That place is too chaotic. Amy and others changed their faces after hearing Avril's words. What are you afraid of? Our current strength is not weak. If it doesn't work, we can ask the Imperial Army for help, Avril said nonchalantly. Okay, it's a happy decision. Avril waved her hand proudly. Yunfan was actually very curious about Caesar City. It is said that almost all races on the continent can be found in this city. In order to save time, several people decided to teleport there through the teleportation array. The entire magic circle is circular, with a huge hexagram pattern on the rock underfoot. On the edge of several magic pillars, there are exquisite magic patterns carved, and faint magic fluctuations emanate from the entire magic circle. Yunfan and the others were standing in a somewhat similar teleportation array in Alkaline College a moment ago. After the magic array was activated, Yunfan only felt a strong magic fluctuation around him, and then after a flash of colorful light, he appeared directly here. This is not the first time Yunfan has taken a teleportation array, but he still knows that this kind of magic teleportation array is very precious and very complicated to arrange. Even a sophisticated space magician needs a lot of magic materials to arrange the magic teleportation array. And space magicians are rare in the entire continent. I really didn't expect that there would be a teleportation array in our college. Why have I never heard of it before? Yunfan said to himself. You don't have to make a fuss, because the teleportation array in our college is one way, which can be teleported from the college to other places, but not from other places to the college. Avril explained with a smile. I didn't expect it to be like this. Yunfan nodded thoughtfully. There's nothing we can do about it. As a cradle for the supply of talents to the Empire, we naturally need to ensure its safety. After this period of study and understanding, Yunfan's understanding of space has been very deep. He has simulated and made space teleportation arrays in his mind more than once. With his current magic knowledge, he should be able to make a short distance magic teleportation array, but he still feels a little bit short of long distance space teleportation arrays. What's more, the magic materials required to set up such a long distance teleportation array are extremely large. Even the Empire cannot set up all of them in every city. Every time the magic teleportation array is operated, the energy required is also extremely terrifying. Some ordinary nobles simply cannot afford it. Caesar City is the largest city in the northeast of the academy. To the west of Caesar City is the Zibur Valley. Beyond the Zibur Valley and heading west, it is the town of Sigil. To the north of Caesar City is the Moses Forest. In the vast Moses Forest, there live all kinds of powerful monsters. Because the border between Caesar City and the Sibyl Empire has always been uneasy, the Empire has actually invested a lot of troops in Caesar City to defend against the invasion of the Sibyl Empire. It is said that the place where the Sibyl Empire lives is very barren, and the Sibyl Empire is the empire with the largest number of races among many empires, including barbarians, orcs and even elves. Although elves are a species that loves nature very much, barbarians and orcs are not what they have always wanted to occupy Kaiser City, a land that is much more fertile than their homes. The biggest feature of this Kaiser City is that there are many races. It is one of the most important defense points of the Empire and an important economic exchange center between the Empire and the Sibyl Empire. Moses Forest is not a peaceful place either. Although the goblins who believe in peace and nature have a harmonious relationship with the Empire, the monsters in Moses Forest are more bloodthirsty than those in Oraba Forest. Because there is no Beast King level monster controller to control them, these monsters are more unscrupulous and often appear in nearby villages. Perhaps it is precisely because of the special nature of Caesar City that the Empire spent a huge amount of money to build this magic teleportation array in the city to facilitate the connection between the Empire and Caesar City. Therefore, Caesar City should be regarded as a place of strategic importance, but the magic teleportation array consumes too much energy to use, and the number of people that can be teleported is also limited, so the teleportation station here is not used to transport troops, but to transmit information. It can be said that it is a special teleportation array for the Empire, and ordinary merchants and adventurers are not allowed to take it. If it were not for Ravel's special identity, it would be basically impossible for Yunfan and others to take the teleportation array to come here. The peculiar location of Caesar City, the monsters here are stronger than those around the academy, making it a paradise for high-level adventurers. Various chambers of commerce and adventurers are eager to make a fortune here. The crystal cores, bones, and flesh of monsters in the Moor Forest, the magic potions of the fairies, some priceless equipment forged by the dwarves, some precious gems produced by the poor orcs, and many materials that can bring huge profits are all the targets of these chambers of commerce. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.